What's up, guys? It's the Essential John L. Crossfire.
And I am Nova Lee.
And you guys are tuned into Caught
In Conversation.
Shaka Laka Laka. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 155 of Caught in Conversation. Go Birds! I am the Essential John L. Crossfire.
And I am Nova Lee.
And we are very excited for this conversation. We're going to try our best to power through this intro, because we've got a lot of stuff to plug in the outro. And this conversation went for really long, Nova. And our guest did say, you can trim out bits here if you need, or trim out bits there if you want. But honestly, I enjoyed this conversation from start to finish. And I think these listeners will enjoy this conversation because we had fun. We had a nice little laugh. It was a good time. Obviously, we talked a lot about the Philadelphia Eagles, Nova, and the Super Bowl.
Yes, we did.
That's why it's called Go Birds. We're talking to our friend Ryan. We talked about wrestling, music, and just Twitch and everything. It's in the description. It's all there. But I don't want to sell our guest short just because we're running out of time here. But Nova Lee, would you like to quickly give us the song and match of the week, and we'll explain why, and then you can do an introduction, which the notes here are a little bit confusing, so I don't know how you're going to announce that last bit. But hey, try, I suppose.
Okay, alrighty, so the song of the week is GTFR by Flow Rider featuring Sage, the Gemini, and Lucas. I think that's how I say it. And the match is Undertaker versus Test at SummerSlam 2002.
This match came up like 10 times in this conversation for pure comedy reasons, and it was like, it's not even that it's a bad match, it's just that it's so random on that compared to the rest of that card here. But Ryan was talking about this song and how much he hated this song, and to be honest, we just kind of felt like being a little bit cheeky today on today's episode. GDFR, of course, Going Down for Real by Flow Rider, Sage the Gemini, and Lucas, whose legal name is Lucas, spelt the traditional way, but I guess he wanted his stage name to be unique. It looked like it says Look As. I kept calling him Luke Us, and I'm like, that doesn't sound right, because I'm like, anyway. What are you going to do here, Nova? Because we've got some notes here, but there's literally a question mark next to the notes we've been given for his intro, so are you going to just have to Ron Burgundy this shit and read the question mark? I don't know what's going on, but
I don't know.
How about this? I'm just going to press the button like always, and then you can just...
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from Sydney, Australia, Ryan Miller.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with the one and only Ryan Miller. Of course, I am here with my lovely wife, Nova Lee, as well, my co-host. How are you doing tonight, Ryan?
Go Birds. For one, we just won the flippin' Super Bowl. I am doing incredible. Still hungover, not gonna lie. But we're partying. The Birds won the Super Bowl. But yeah, no, brother. I'm doing all right. We're living it. We're living the dream. You know, we're living the dream.
I mean, and it's going to come up in the in some of the questions, but as we record this episode's not going to come out for, a week and a half? Quick math, 2 weeks? But, as we record this, we're 3 days removed from the Super Bowl, and Homeboy here was drinking beer at 9 a.m. at the pub, getting ready for the Birds. And, look, I'm not a Birds fan, I'm a Rams fan, but I was an honorary Birds fan for this game. 100%, if any of the pubs near us had been doing that, I probably would have been doing the exact same thing.
Same.
Look, I had a full setup outside, and I was so upset because I planned with my dad. I'm like, my dad, my partner, our newborn. We were all gonna sit out the back, have a good time. We set up a new TV. I just got a barbecue for Christmas. We got this table that's also an esky, so we're gonna have the best time. And then an hour before, it just started storming, and I'm like, you're kidding. You're. What's the swearing parameters here? Do I have to cut it back?
You can swear.
Oh, brother, say whatever you want.
Cool.
This is your episode.
Okay, cool. I was like, for fuck's sake, man! Is this a bad omen? Should I not be watching this game? Not the case. But I'm like, okay, quick switch up. The club down the road is showing the game loud and live. They got 4 huge screens on the wall. And I was like, oh, I hope it's a good atmosphere, because like last time I watched the Super Bowl 2 years ago, I was at the Star Casino, and that was one of the most crazy experiences ever for me. Didn't end great, thanks Chiefs, but we got our we got our win back, I guess. So
we went on the revenge tour.
Yeah, we're in our revenge era. Revenge Eras tour, let's go.
Before we get too far into this, Ryan, this is going to jump all over the place as it is, because as you know, both Nova and I extremely hate ADHD, and we've tried to kind of structure this to an extent to where I have a habit of talking too much on this podcast. Shock horror, Ryan, you've known me long enough to know that I'm a very introverted person, but when it comes to professional wrestling, you're not going to get me to shut up. So there's almost times in this podcast where Nova has to kind of reel me back in, so this is kind of your domain, because when it comes to the football stuff, you can both kind of nerd out. But we will bring it back to the start. We always start the first official question. My God, what are words by the T-shirt? The first official question is always the same question for first-time guests on this show. It's a nice little icebreaker, and that's just simply, what was your earliest professional wrestling memory?
Oh, it is the weirdest memory of all time. Because it's definitely not the first time I watched wrestling, but I remember being like, I don't know, it was past, maybe I was like 5 years old. I was super sick, had the day off school, and I was laying in my parents' bed because it was huge. Like, I wasn't gonna sit in my little single bed. I was sick. I was the king for the day. So I was laying in my parents' double bed, and my first memory is John Cena coming back from getting stabbed so he could go film the Marine.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know why I remember Survivor Series 2004 as my first wrestling memory, but that was it. I just remember, like, it was Team Eddie versus Team Angle, I think it was,
yes.
And Carlito and Jesus were on the other team. And everyone's like, oh, John Cena's back, and then he's music hit, everyone goes crazy. Dude just got stabbed. And he's like, it's fine, whatever. I'm gonna go chase this guy, and that's my first wrestling memory.
I remember being 11 when that happened, maybe 12.
I was 4.
Genuinely, like, so 2004. Yeah, I would have been 10, going on 11, or just turned 11. But I remember, I remember watching that. And Theodore Long comes out on the episode of SmackDown, and he's like, hold on now, player. John Cena was at a nightclub, and he got stabbed in the kidneys, and I know it was you, Jesus, player. Holla, holla, holla. And I was like, looking back, it's the hokiest, like, shit ever. But as a kid, I genuinely was like, Carlito's bodyguard attacked John Cena, and he stabbed him, and he's in the kidneys, and he could die. And I'm like, remember my sister just making so much fun of me. And now I'm like, you look back at it, and you're like, that was the most... It was the laziest booking ever of, he was stabbed. John Cena was stabbed.
Where's John Cena?
And then 2 weeks later,
filming a movie.
Comes back and beats Carlito for the title, for the US title, like nothing happened.
What a bad time for John. Loses his title in a debut, like when Carlito makes his debut, and just gets stabbed. And then he has to film the Marine. Like, that is the worst luck. Like, they say bad luck comes in threes, but damn. But, like, another memory of mine is, like, so... I don't want to ramble on too much, but like, because it's not really answering the question. But that was my first memory. But like, I have so many like scattered memories of when I was a kid. Like, I remember the weirdest stuff from SummerSlam 2002, because that was another one that I rented from the DVD store, the Civic Video back in the day.
Yes, shout-outs. We've given Civic Video and Video Easy many a shout-outs on CIC.
Well deserved.
But the question is, did you go to the VHS section, or was that done by the time you got to it?
Oh, I had... The only VHS I really remember is the orange Rugrats in Paris.
Oh, dude,
I had
yes.
that.
So I hired Survivor Series 1999 on VHS, and I watched that probably legitimately 20 times. Like, I hired it like 2 or 3 times, and like every day after school, I'd pop it in and watch it.
But, like, I remember watching SummerSlam 02, but it was like the most random stuff, like the most random scattered memories, until like I watched it recently and I kind of remember everything. But like I remember like the DVD screen and the "Wanna Fight" like right at the start of that song, but that wasn't even in the like released version of that song. Undertaker versus Test for some reason. Not Triple H versus Shawn. Fuck that. I remember Undertaker versus Un-Americans Test for some reason. Like, I remember there's photos of me that my mother gave me recently because she's going through, she's looking at, looking through all these photos, and I had this big Shrek. Like, thing was taller than I was. This big Shrek doll, and there's photos of me doing frog splashes off the couch onto this Shrek. Because I was a big Eddie Guerrero guy from like I remember, and this is a true story.
my God.
I don't think I'd still like my mom would still have the Christmas list I wrote this on, but Christmas in 2005. I didn't believe this until she actually told me, because I kind of heard like them talking about it, but she was like, "No, this actually happened." The year he passed, it was 2005.
20 years
for
this
Christmas
year.
that year, that's crazy. I wrote on my Christmas list. Well, like you're right, your Christmas list is saying I was 5 years old. He's very real, by the way. What do you want for Christmas? I want Eddie Guerrero to like come back so we can spend Christmas with his family. And I look at that and I'm like, what a cute little guy. Like I don't want, but like that didn't happen. I got an Eddie Guerrero action figure though.
Hell yeah.
So that was fun to play with. I got a lot of action figures as a kid. I got like this bag the other day, and it's full of like old wrestling like figures that I had, and it's just a random JBL, but he has no hands.
I got a Scott Hall, and his ponytail fell off. Because it was like one of the old Jacksons where the ponytail was actually sculpted on, and now there's just a hole in the back of his head.
There's Kevin Nash with John Cena's head somewhere. I don't know how I managed that because I haven't seen that figure in 20 years. Like, I don't know. But yeah, back to the question. Like the Jesus stabbing John Cena thing was like the first memory for some reason, and then like SummerSlam 02, and then it kind of just goes into like the stuff that I actually remember because I was like old enough to remember, even though none of it holds up today from like 2006 to 2008 when I kind of stopped watching for a year or two because I'm like, what is this?
There is some pretty like hidden gems in those there. Like they'll pop up on socials every now and then, and you'll sit there and watch them and you're like, oh, that's actually better than I remember.
But there's a lot of stuff I watch and like, that's worse than I remember. Like, there's a Christmas episode because, like, look, I'm a big Deadlock guy. Love the Deadlock podcast.
Dude, yes.
And I will watch episodes that they kind of watch, like they review before they review it, so I can kind of like I can when I'm at work and I'm listening to it, I can kind of see what they're talking about. And there was like an episode, a Christmas episode, where I think it was like Sylvain Grenier comes out as Santa and just beats the living shit out of Batista. He's the world champion, but Sylvain Grenier can just beat the shit out of him as Santa with no worries. He's not scared of him or anything. He's like, yeah, that's fine. There's one guy who I've heard about maybe 3 times just beating the world champion up.
Jeez.
Like, some of that stuff is like so awful. That doesn't even dive into like the actual awful shit that they did back then. But some of the stuff is just so dumb. I look at it and I'm like, what is this shit? And then I look at the stuff from the time I wasn't watching. Like, I think I stopped watching in 2009 to 2011. I look back and I'm like, the CM Punk stuff from the SES was really good, but I never saw any of that when it was happening because I stopped watching. So I came back with his pipe bomb. That was kind of the thing where I was like, oh, okay, well, what's going on here? I like CM Punk, but why is his hair short now? Because I missed him getting his head shaved. So I'm like, what is happening here? He popped up on my 2K24 a few weeks ago. I'm like, why is this dude bald? And then I remembered that he was bald for a time, and I'm like, holy shit! I'm glad I kind of missed that era, because what the hell is going on here?
SES Punk with the fucking luchador, with the lucha mask.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
If that's not gimmick of the year, I don't know what was.
That was such an underrated gimmick, though. Like before he got shaved, like when he was doing the whole like shaving everyone else's heads, like as the cult leader, that was actually so good. But it's buried amongst so much like other stuff.
Yeah.
But
Wrestling was
before we move on, Ryan, what point from discovering wrestling did you discover Australian professional wrestling? Were you a fan? Did you attend any shows, or wasn't until you started training and stuff that you started finding about Australian wrestling?
So, it was around the time that I came back into watching wrestling. So I came back in 2011. It was 2013. I was on Facebook, and Facebook as a 13-year-old, that was a great idea. But I saw the AWF Dream Camp, and I'm like, what's this? I don't know I didn't even know there was Australian wrestling. I was a kid. I lived up in like the mid-north coast. I was not anywhere near anything to do with wrestling back then. So I saw it through like mutual friends and stuff, and it was like from this age, I think it was like 13, you could do it from 13 if you had like parents' permission. So I was like, I'll give it a go. And I trained with J Law for those few days. It was kind of a thing where it was like, we will teach you like the very basics, because they're not going to throw a 13-year-old in there doing Canadian destroyers and shit. They're just like, we will teach you the most basic stuff. We are going to, and then like at the end of the few days, you like put a match on, kind of thing.
Okay.
And they like film the match, and it's like, wow, you've done this, very cool. So I did that when I was 13. The next year, I did it again with a few people who also went on to become pro wrestlers. So that was pretty good. That was a 2014 Dream Camp. We did that with TNT.
Okay.
And then because I knew about AWF from there, I started going to their shows a lot. I was pretty much front row at every show from 2014 until probably that I made my debut in when did I make my debut? 2017? Yeah, because I was in year 12 when I made my debut. So yeah, from 2014 to 2017, I was at like every show of AWF, because I wasn't like researching anything outside of that because I didn't know. So yeah.
Okay, well, you kind of just like answered like half of the second question, which is great. But what was the deciding factor that you decided to actually start training? Was there a particular match or moment or anything where you went, hey, like I want to do this, or I could do this? And how'd you take that step to getting to J-Law? Did you just straight up just see the poster and just reach out from there, or?
Well, pretty much. I was like, I was a pretty dumb kid. I say dumb kid from the point from like 2013 and before that. 2023 and before that. So like, I was like, oh, I can do a frog splash off my couch as a 5-year-old. I can wrestle a big Shrek. I want to give this a go. So I talked to my mum about it, and I think she knew someone in wrestling. Like she went to school with them because she lived down here for most of her early life in Sydney. I shouldn't say here like everyone knows, but so she reached out and he was like, yeah, this is what this is. Fill in these forms if you want to do it, and yeah, I think it was scheduled as TNT and J Law running it in 2013. But I think TNT ended up going on a tour overseas at the same time. So J Law was like, oh, I'll just run it. Like, that's fine. So we were with him for the first Dream Camp.
Okay. Hell yeah. Was there a particular match or moment, though, that made you, like, want to do it, or were you just hooked from the get-go?
I I was, as far as I can remember, I've loved it. It was like a bonding thing for like me and my dad, especially in like the mid 2000s. I don't think he really like, he would pay attention and kind of watch it with me and be like, what the hell is my son into? He would have to stop me from watching some things. Thanks, Edge and Leader in 2006. I appreciate it. But
what is wrestling?
Like, yeah, I agree. But yeah, that was kind of it. Like, I always loved it, and I was like, look, this is a dream of mine, and I never thought I would have the opportunity to do this, and I want to do this, and I've been given this opportunity on a silver platter. Why don't I give it a go? If I suck at it, then I suck at it, and that's what it is. I know I can't do this. I went through the first dream camp, and I'm like, hey, I'm not awful at this. I can pick things up relatively well. Like, I wasn't the fastest learner by any means, but it wasn't like I was so far behind that everyone would have to kind of wait for me. So that kind of gave me some confidence to continue. I don't think I joined like an actual school though until like I was just kind of training with wrestlers for a while, like kind of bouncing around places once I actually started training. I think my first training school was actually like Suplex in 2017. So from 2013 to, because you couldn't join an actual wrestling school until you were 16. So I did the 2 dream camps, and then I had to take 2015 and 2016 off, and then I started at Suplex in 2017.
See, I'm trying to do the math here, because I'm pretty sure the age gap between us is similar to that of me and my middle-aged brother, because I've got 2 younger brothers, and I'm just laughing because my brother had a Shrek, and I'm doing the math, and given that you and him are basically the same age, I'm like, it was probably the same type of Shrek, and I was the exact same. Like, I would drop elbows off the couch onto it and frog splash, and back before I was a fat kid, I was doing Jeff Hardy swanton bombs, and
they had the giant donkey as well, and they also had the giant Puss in Boots as well. So my brother had every single one.
My brother had the Shrek, and my mum used to be like, "Don't wrestle it, you'll break it, and lo and behold, we eventually ended up with a hole in his back from the amount of times that I'd landed on him. But I'm just laughing.
My Shrek had a hole in his chest. Like, bro looked like he just went through open heart surgery, for real. Like, he was spilling stuffing everywhere. And my mom's like, look what you did. And then I'm like, cool. Anyway, I got a pillow now, so I'm going to wrestle a pillow on the floor. I was the dumbest kid. We moved into my grandparents' house when I was like 6. And they had like a wooden floor. I used to dive off the top bunk and do like frog splashes and diving headbutts onto a thin pillow on wooden floors. I don't know how the hell I didn't like break my kneecap, but as I said, wasn't a smart kid.
I'm just thinking of Homer Simpson with that. Just hope I don't brain my damage. Fucking diving headbutt off the top of the bunk to the pillow. To the wooden floor. Jesus.
Yeah, but I was real upset when the other pillow would come in and help the pillow cheat to win. That was messed up. I lost my my foam US title so many times. I was messed up.
Like before Nova Arcs was like her first official question, it just reminds me of like that meme. It's like, well, there's a few people that have done different versions of it, but there was a TikTok going around. It's like when you're 5 years old and your pillow just kicks out of your finisher, and no one's kicked out of your finisher before.
Literally, I'd sit there with the stunned face. I'd do all the entrances, but I would do my own introductions. For some reason, everyone, like, I don't know why I did this, but everyone who I wrestled as, whether it was John Cena, The Big Show, Rey Mysterio, didn't matter. Everyone was 245 pounds, because that's the only number I could remember. So everyone was the same.
God, Rey Mysterio at 245 is a scary thought.
Yeah, I know. But
picture only being that little.
Made sense in my head.
Show.
that it made sense in my head. Everyone is 245 pounds, and I am Lillian Garcia at 5 years old. That's me.
That is amazing.
That's my life goal.
Yeah. Oh shit.
So so fast forwarding a little bit here, Ryan. You've been out of the ring for a little bit now. Why did you step away from the ring?
Okay. I'll be pretty straightforward without going into too much. Just because like I do plan on coming back, but I'm also in a different stage of my life where the drama and the shit talking, I guess, I'm past it. Unfortunately, like some people in the space aren't, and I still hear about it, even though I haven't been really involved in the scene in 3 years. Was my last singles match. But I'm not interested in like starting up anything or anything like that, so I won't go too deep into it. But I was becoming bitter. I was in a very bad stage of my life. Mentally, I wasn't well for quite a few years, and I never really got it fixed. I was drinking. I don't want to say like I was like the world's biggest alcoholic or anything, but like it was something I needed to get help for. That in like the last few years I have. But I was in a very bad place mentally. I wasn't the best person to be around. I didn't want to be around anyone. So I ended up just hating it because I'm like, I've got all this other stuff going on. I'm mentally not well myself. And there's just a bunch of drama kind of ever since I started. And it was all dumb stuff, and most of it was stuff that I wasn't even like involved in, but I would kind of somehow get dragged into it, and I'm like, how did this even happen? I didn't say anything, I wasn't involved in this, but because one person says this thing and then the other person says this, and now somehow I've been pulled into it because I'm near person B. And it was like, okay, this is dumb. I started seeing the kind of person I was being, not only to myself, but towards other people. And I didn't like it. I didn't like how wrestling kind of made me. I was quite young when I came into wrestling. I was like 17. I wasn't mentally mature. And because I stayed around it and I wasn't getting the mental help I needed for like the dark place I was in or the drinking or anything like that, I couldn't mature. So that's basically it. I didn't like the person I was becoming. I was quite bitter. There was a bunch of drama happening around me that I didn't care for. And I wanted to step away because I wanted to be a better person, because I realized I was not being a good person. I was kind of turning into the things that I hated, not just about wrestling, but just in general. So yeah, like I'm very open with that. I talk about the mistakes I make. Like I made, and the person I kind of was, and how immature I was, because I've put a lot of effort in the last few years, and I actively wanted to be a better person, and I've made sure I've become a better person, and yeah, that's pretty much the gist of why I left.
So with that all being said, because now you feel like you're in a better place, do you think we'll ever see you back in the ring?
I would love to. I think about it quite a lot. There were a few years there my last singles match was in 22 against Banjo Powers. I've never watched it back because it's one of my favorite matches. I'm sure we'll talk about that later, along with some other favorite matches. But I had that match. And then I remember at the end of that match, I knew I was leaving. I'd spoken to my trainer about it, and I was like, look, I'm done. I need to step away from this. And she was understanding. She's like, okay, fair enough. I bowed in the ring and I left. I did a few rumbles for Suplex after that because, like, I had a great time there. They've always treated me well. They were like, hey, we know you still kind of love this, even though you kind of hate the surroundings of it right now. Why don't you just come have fun in a rumble? You're still in shape. You still know what you're doing. You're still safe. Come to a rumble. So I did. But I hated wrestling for a while, and I wanted nothing to do with it. I would still be friends with people in the business, but anytime they would bring it up, I would shut down. I'm no longer in that place. I'm in a place where I can look at it and go, look, I wasn't the best person. Sometimes I wasn't around the best people. But now I'm more mature, more kind of business-minded, don't take things as personal as I used to. And if there's ever a chance of me getting back in the ring, it's going to be now, kind of thing. But I would be changing pretty much everything from my mindset to who I am, like just everything about it, to separate the experience of what happened before to now, because I want to make Australian wrestling a more fun place to be if I'm in that locker room. Like, if that makes sense. Like, if people are sharing a locker room with me, they know they're going to get, like, a good experience. Because there's people I've shared locker rooms with where I'm like, I can't wait to share a locker room with that person because they're so much fun to be around. I want to be that person. I don't want to be that guy where they're like, he's on the show, he's just going to sit in the corner and not talk to anyone. He's kind of like a dark cloud. And I was that for a while, but I'm in a much better place. And I'm honestly excited at the thought of coming back.
Is there any inkling on when that may or may not be happening, or is this all just kind of...
Still planning it out, mapping it out?
I'm planning it out right now. I just started a new job mid last year, so I'm working full time now. I just had a child in December, so I'm learning how to be a father. I need to get back in shape. I need to find a place to train, because I'm not going to be one of those guys that comes back and they're unsafe because they don't remember how to do it. That will never be me. So there's a few logistic things that I have to kind of work through. I'm not going by Ryan Miller when I come back. I'm changing that up. Little CIC exclusive. So it'll be like new gear and all of that. So it's all in the works, but it's a lot of logistic stuff to make sure that when I come back, I'm doing it in a safe way, not only for myself but for the people I'll be wrestling, because that's the most important thing.
Do you have a name picked out, or is that still in the thought process as well?
I do. So where this name came from was if you don't know me, which I'm sure a lot of people don't, I stream, and I've been streaming on Twitch for a few years now. I started doing GTA roleplay, and I had this character named Ryan Jacobs. So that would be my name if I came back, because I was playing a character on GTA roleplay, and I really kind of got used to that character. And I wouldn't be bringing my roleplay character into wrestling, but I like that name, and it's kind of something that I've built a brand around in like my streaming stuff. So yeah.
I have to make a mental note when I do the thumbnail to put Ryan Jacobs and not Ryan Miller.
Yeah.
Well, they don't know that yet. They haven't gotten that far if they click on the episode.
They gotta listen.
Spoilers.
Listen, Mark.
Spoilers. Yeah. Exclusive. Dirt sheets. Don't forget.
Aye.
So kind of like switching gears a little bit now, something we obviously have to talk about. Your biggest obsession is with the NFL, the Philly Eagles.
Go Birds!
Go Birds!
Which we did touch on a little bit before, but...
When did you first come across the NFL / gridiron in general?
So that was a thing that me and my brother, like my brother used to have like a bunch of the NFL 2K and like Madden games on the Xbox when we were kids.
Dude, yes.
So I kind of see him playing that, and like he had his teams. I didn't understand any of it because I grew up on NRL. So I was like, if they run out, why don't I have the ball? Give me the ball. That is my ball now. And he's like, no, it's not. I'm like, bullshit. I was 6 years old. I didn't know. I was diving off bunk beds onto wooden floors. And then we kind of drifted on our own paths in life, and I kind of picked up the games again, like Madden 15. I was like, I liked playing this as a kid, but I still don't understand any of it. And then 2020 came, lockdown hit, and I was like, damn, what the hell do I do? I've lost my job. I'm stuck in the house. This is brutal. And my partner at the time, who is still one of my best friends, we were like, let's just dive into a new sport. Let's just give something a go. And I was like, look, I wanna watch the NFL. Let's give it a go. When I was playing the games, I'd always go the Eagles, and I never knew why. Like, I was just like, these guys are the coolest. I think it was just because it was a bird and I was easily impressed. I don't know. But I really enjoyed them. So I was like, let's look at some teams. But every other team I looked at, I'm like, I keep going back to the Eagles. And then I was like, you know what? We're gonna watch the draft. And the first player I see picked for the Eagles, like that's my guy. Like we're ride or die for that guy, kind of thing. I seen him get drafted. That's my guy. Like, even if he's terrible, we're gonna ride this thing out. The first person I saw getting drafted in round 2 was Jalen Hurts. So yes. I think that worked out. I think that worked out pretty well for me. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. It started with the games when I was a kid, throughout my teen years, and then I was like, I'm just gonna give this sport a go, and I just clung onto the Eagles, especially once I started doing more research about like that current team, and that was a huge transition point for the Eagles, that 2020, 2021 season. So I love the players. I love the fans, which is, that's kind of what most people don't like about the Eagles, but it's something I loved because they were so passionate about that team. And I'm like, I want to be that passionate about that team. And now I am. And I'm like, oh, it gets me in trouble sometimes with how passionate I am about this damn team. But
so, yeah, the next question was going to be, the big question kind of thing is like, what drew you to picking the Eagles as your team? But you kind of semi-answered that anyway. Like, you were just like, I was drawn to them kind of thing.
Yeah, I like how the question was literally what drew you to them, and he's just said, I was just drawn to it.
Yeah.
Like, he used like,
you've already perfectly answered it.
Well, let me elaborate a little further. I'm trying to keep my answers short and sweet, but I go off on tangents, not even meaning to. I don't know if it's because I'm nervous or what, but I talk a lot. So
it's your episode, man.
Yeah,
like, you can talk for as long or as little as you like.
But yeah, so it was just the players, especially like after that transition period, because I came in, Doug Peterson was on his way out. I didn't do much, like at that point when I first started watching, I didn't do much previous like research. I was starting to, but I hadn't caught up on everything yet. So I didn't know that like about the Philly special and winning the Super Bowl or anything. I was just looking at these people at like face value, what I was seeing. 2020 season was pretty rough for the Eagles. But I was like, these are my guys. I'm rocking with these guys, whether it's a great season or a rough season. Like, so Doug Peterson was leaving. I know Zach Ertz left in 2021, but I really liked Zach Ertz, so that kind of sucks that I only got like a season with him, and I was like, crap. I really like Doug Peterson. I don't know what it is. Even when he was with the Jags, I'm like, I fucking love this dude. But then that 2022 season came in, and that's when I was like, I'm going to learn every single player on this damn team. That was when we got, like, AJ Brown. The 2022-2023 season is when I was like, I'm gonna learn everyone. I'm gonna start watching like college football so I can like learn the draft picks we're gonna get, and like I was like, I'm going to just learn everything about it, and that happened to be, in my opinion, one of the best teams we've had in recent years. I think our current team is the best team. Not just because we won the Super Bowl, but even before that, I was like, this is the squad. But that 22-23 season where we had like CJ Gardner-Johnson, like he just came from the Saints, and Slay was doing his thing on defense as well. We just got AJ Brown. I think, if I'm correct, that was the year we drafted Jordan Davis. Mailata was already there. Landon Dickerson was already there. Jalen was QB1 now. He wasn't stuck behind that guy who is the backup in Kansas now.
He's not anymore. He's literally leaving. I literally saw it just before. Well, it was like it's rumored anyway. They were potentially leaving, and I was like, "Ha, suck shit."
They could offer him an extension, but remains to be seen.
Oh, brother!
Don't come back to us. We don't want you. You're gross. Okay.
Go back to the Colts or the other three other teams. Anyway,
like Big James, who's a massive KC fan, sent me the whole list of like people.
Yeah.
It's the list of like, free agents coming up, and I was just like, holy shit, because there's some hard hitters on there for
Juju.
KC itself.
I was like, shit, Juju's pretty freaking decent. I was like, fuck, they're getting rid of some heavy hitters.
I don't like the free agents we're losing. I don't like the free agents we're losing this season.
Who are we losing? I need to catch up on all this.
The offense, these are just off memory. These are some, like, I could be wrong on some of these, but these are the ones I kind of remember. So, Mekhi Becton, who I feel like we need to re-sign. Mm-hmm. Kenneth Gainwell. Fred Johnson. Jack Driscoll. Paris Campbell. Britton Covey, I think. That's on offense. Defense, we got, I know Sweat's contract is coming up.
Yeah.
BG's retiring. Zach Bourne is up because we only signed him to a 1-year deal. So signing him back is going to be fun.
Yeah.
Avonte Maddox.
Oh, yeah, Maddox.
Milton, Isaiah Rodgers, and Oren Burks, I think. I could be missing some. I am pretty sure I am. But we're losing a lot of people.
There was a thing,
and we need to re-sign.
Yeah, well, not long ago, I was like, I don't know if it's just like the NFL version of dirt sheets or what, but literally they were kind of like, oh yeah, Slay thinks he's got one more in him, but he doesn't think it's probably going to be with the Eagles. And then the other day it's come out, and it was before the Super Bowl too, and he's like, I've got one more in me, and I want it to be with the Eagles. Yeah. So I'm like, the fuck is the news crew doing?
I just love how Nick Sirianni was like, yeah, Kellen, let's do this shit one more time, yeah?
Oh, that asshole.
I was like, lol.
Fucking
what
asshole.
What the fuck you mean? I'm going to the Saints.
So he ended up going to the Saints because he was interviewing with the Cowboys, and I was like, don't you fucking dare, of all the teams, fuck those guys.
Fuck the Dallas Cowboys.
Fuck the Dallas Cowboys.
I kind of wanted it to be the Cowboys just for the chaos that would ensue.
I mean, we kind of deserved it, didn't we? Like, we took Saquon from Giants. Like, we had to deal with some kind of shit, right?
They did that. The Giants did that willingly.
They got rid of him. I can't believe they got rid of him. I'm like, thank you, assholes.
They wanted to pay Daniel Jones over Saquon Barkley just to give him to the Vikings?
I was loving all the memes. I was loving all the memes. It's like, Daniel Jones is released. It's like, that worked out well for you.
I'm having a fit myself on my end going, where the fuck does Cup end up? Because, like, when he's off, but when he's on, he's on. And I'm like, without him, we wouldn't have even made playoffs this year. And now it's just like, he's done. And you can tell he himself is not a fan of the decision. So it's going to be interesting to see who picks him up. But before Nova asks her next question, Ryan, just kind of backtracking a little bit, you glossed over the college ball. Who's your team in the college NCAA?
Penn State, baby.
Makes sense.
I love Penn State.
I like Georgia.
The Whiteout.
Not mad, I'm just disappointed.
Georgia dogs.
No Bomber moment. Hey, we're the Philly dogs at the moment.
That's what I mean. That's why I'm like, that's kind of why I was like, it was either between them or I was also kind of drawn to the Longhorns because I was just like, they look sick. I just like the orange
Even
and shit.
before I started watching college ball, I was Georgia Bulldogs because Georgia athletes, regardless of the sport, are fucking freaks.
Always freaks.
I don't know what's in
that. I don't know what's in that
Georgia water, but
I could never go to Longhorns. Texas, Dallas.
I was gonna say, is that too close to Cowboys for you?
Yes, it's the same with the Texans. I can't go for the Texans when it was Chiefs versus Texans. Is the only like thing I could go, okay, I will go for the Texans. I like CJ Stroud.
Okay.
I like him as a player. I'm not going to root for him because he's too close to the Dallas Cowboys. They're not even the same team. I'm pretty sure they hate each other. But
that's kind of why I was semi-gut, like, torn up between them and dogs. But then I was like,
different for Ryan.
Couldn't do it. Could not do it. I'm going to stick with my Penn State. I'll stick with my Temple. Temple and Penn State. I'll stick with Temple. I'm pretty sure plays in Lincoln Financial Field, so they're also my guys.
See, that's another thing though. Penn State is just one of the best fucking sports colleges as well. Like you always hear it in shows. Like you'll just watch
when we
TV
don't
shows.
shit the bed in the playoff against Notre Dame.
Oh yeah,
Drew,
that's the other one.
What are you doing?
Penn State and Notre Dame. They're the two ones you always hear.
I think we can all agree when we say fuck Notre Dame.
That shit pissed me off. I was at work. I go on my lunch break and I'm like, oh, there's like a minute left or whatever it was. We're only like a few points down. We can win this. We can win. Drew Aller just threw interception. I'm just gonna go back to work early. I was so pissed. And then they got blown out in the championship, like the national championships. I was like, oh.
I just love that we both kind of picked the Eagles in a similar way, though, because, like, my older brother used to play Madden a lot when I was younger, so I kind of knew basic stuff. And then in high school, like, all the boys at school would go and try and play Gridiron, and I'm like, what is this? Just to sit there and watch them doing it and stuff. And then one time, me and my friend went to Paddy's Markets on a little trip, and they had all this NFL stuff, and I'm just like, and like I was just looking at them, and the guys like, oh, are you drawn to any team in particular? I'm like, I really like the look of the Eagles. I love the green, like it's just something about the Kelly green, because at the time, the hat that I got in 2012 was like, had Kelly green on it.
That's like almost like close to being a 15-year-old hat at this point.
Yeah, I got it in 2012, and I was just like, there's just something about it. And then I never got to properly watch games, really, up until we had one of our best seasons in 2022, 2023, because we got KO and everything, and then me and John just dived into all these sports.
I was the same.
And then I just went mad on it.
I was always St. Louis Rams, just because you'd see it like on like movies and like shows and stuff. And at the time they had like the navy and the Goldie bronze, and I loved the color combination. And obviously, being from Goulburn, we're famous for the big merino, so I was just like, fuck yeah, Rams, that's my team. And then you start watching and like they're in LA now, and I'm like, whatever. They've been in LA longer than they've been in anywhere else now, so I guess I just gotta have to love it and leave it. But started watching was it the 2021 or 2022 season?
Yeah,
2022 season. It was just after they'd won the Super Bowl, and I'm like, fuck. I'm like, do I still go for the Rams? I wasn't sure because I didn't want to seem like a bandwagoner, same as like you and Ryan.
Yeah, well, I kind of look like a bandwagoner because it's one of our best seasons.
Philly
but I was like,
a couple years ago, and I was like,
I've had this hat since fucking 2012, so fuck yes.
And then I was talking to Big James about this, and I was like I was a fan of Torrey Holt back in the day, and like he wasn't a super well-known player because he wasn't a quarterback, but when he's getting his flowers now.
Yeah.
But I was like, I loved guys like him and just the color scheme and like the logo and shit. So then it was just like, and me and Nova were sitting there like, We both have teams. We're both being accused of bandwagoners. And then they both kind of had, like, subpar seasons the year that we were watching. Like, obviously you guys ended up making the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But, like, the start of the season was like, yeah,
bit
okay,
hairy.
they're doing good, but I don't know. And then at the end, we're just like, you know what, fuck it, these are our teams. Deal with it.
Yeah, I just, I don't even know. I was in the casino watching the Super Bowl. We had a great time until that stupid holding call that wasn't a hold. And then we're doing great the next season.
Well, they even fucking said it this Super Bowl. They talked about it, and I was like, oh!
Like, you just reading the comments on, like, Facebook and Twitter or X, whatever the fuck you want to call it, and it's always like, and it's like, that holding! It's like, Jesus Christ, y'all are just out here holding grudges. Maybe rightfully so. Maybe rightfully so.
There are teams that I have a soft spot for, where I'm like, and then there are teams that I feel like there's three teams that I absolutely hate, and then there's some where I'm like, I don't hate you. You're just like, you're like the cool younger brother. Like, I'm not, like, if we verse, I'm not rooting for you, but, like, any other time, like, I hope you do well. Like, you're pretty cool.
It's kind of like the Bears for you overall.
Yeah,
the Chargers
the
or Bengals for me.
The Bears are kind of like one of my second teams. I just like the Bears. I just like Chicago because wrestling Chicago. I'm like, it all fits.
Yeah.
Like I'm a Rams fan through and through, but like if the Bengals won another Super Bowl, I'd be like, fuck yeah, let's go, who day? Like, but then there's other teams where it's like, fuck yeah. But then there's other teams where, same as you guys, where it's like, if it was like Dallas or someone, I'd just be like, no, fuck you guys to the moon.
I'm just loving this.
Dallas,
his brother.
49ers, and Chiefs.
See,
Dallas 49ers and Chiefs. I liked the 49ers for a little bit until that whole NFC Championship shit happened. And then they're like, oh my god, they took out our quarterback. Oh my god, they took out our quarterback again. Maybe get an O-line that works, and maybe we won't hit your quarterback and then hit your other quarterback. Just like the Chiefs learned at the Super Bowl, if you try and block Josh Sweat with Travis Kelce, it's not going to work very well.
That's the wrong Kelce brother to be doing that.
Yeah, he's not the chunky one.
He's not the defender.
He's not our chunky one.
I don't want to hear the complaining about how two of your quarterbacks went out, and then you had to use Christian McCaffrey as a quarterback for a play or something. Just protect your damn quarterbacks. What are you doing? I don't want to hear excuses. Like, when we lost the Super Bowl, I was like, okay, I don't agree with that holding call, but I'm not going to sit there and make excuses. We should have played a lot better than we did.
That game, 100% towards the end, would have gone either way, with or without that. Like, honestly.
Yeah. But like, I see that the Chiefs players are like, oh my god, there was a few calls from the refs in the Super. I was like, oh my god,
they're the ones to talk.
That is the richest shit I have ever. I don't want to hear shit.
Somebody touch Mahomes, flag.
Oh, I was probably so obnoxious at the club that day. I was surrounded by Chiefs fans, and I was like, oh my god, we sacked him again, expecting the flag. Not a single one. And I was like, let's go. And then we were blowing him out by halftime, like, oh my god, what is this? And I'm like, oh no. Like, I started going into wrestling mindset, and also New England versus Atlanta, I think it was, with the huge comeback. I was like, oh no. I don't like how this second half is going to go. And then we kept blowing him out. And then they got like a few like garbage time points. And I was like, oh my god. I was looking at my partner and my dad. And I was like, what is going on here? Like, this is not... One, I knew we had the ability to play like this, but what the hell is happening with the Chiefs right now?
I'm like, that's like, meant to be the next GOAT right there. What's the next GOAT doing?
Well, even when they got that first touchdown near the end of the third, Nova, you were like, here it comes. Like, you were like, fuck, like, they're going to start stacking points like this.
I swear that kind of semi-happened in the last Super Bowl as we were doing so fucking well. And then the second half came and I'm like, oh, fuck, like, we are gassed. To the point where now we're just doing fucking shit. I'm like, oh, please, Dorian, I don't want that to happen again. I was like, fuck. As soon as like friggin' Kendrick Lamar went off, I'm like, fuck. This is gonna go to shit, isn't it? I'm gonna have my heart broken again.
I loved that Kendrick Lamar performance. I don't care what I've seen a lot of flack for it, but I loved it. I was dancing in the club, the leagues club. I was having a great time. Everyone else was looking at me like I had 3 heads, but I was like, I love this. I'm a big Kendrick guy, so I was like, I love every second. I'm
just more of a rock guy in general as opposed to rap and hip hop, but I did pop for fucking Samuel L. Jackson. I will say that.
Yeah, well,
I did too.
I popped for fucking Serena Williams and SZA because they're both fucking Drake's exes, and I was like, yeah, like, give me the beef.
Yeah, the fact.
You're like, I'm the complete opposite.
The fact they let through with the Drake line, I was just like, oh shit. I was like 10 out of 10 just for that.
I see people all the time on Twitter, and they're like, oh my god, wrestling was so much better with rock music, and I'm like, yeah. But it also, I feel like it had its time. Like, I look back at the old SVR soundtracks, and I'm like, this shit rocks. I love this. Like, 3 Days Grace. My favorite soundtrack of all time is the original SmackDown vs. Raw.
Oh, dude, yeah, like
Zebra Head.
Yes.
Dude, like, so good.
But, like, I don't need early 2000s style rock music in my wrestling anymore. Sometimes it fits. Like, some of my favorite songs were from like rock songs now, and like metal and all that sort of stuff, punk and all that, are from wrestling shows and like wrestling promos. Like, I got into Beartooth because of an NXT promo. Same with Relentless. I can't remember what promo it was used for, but I think it's an Of Mice and Men song called Relentless, and I'm pretty sure it was Shinsuke versus Samoa Joe for the NXT title. And like, I was like, these songs rock, but I don't need to hear who did they used to use back in like 03 and 04. I don't need to hear shit, I'm blanking.
But I feel like it's all contextual though, right? Like, for example, like the new SmackDown opening, I dig the fuck out of that. It's a rap hip hop song. It's a vibe, right?
But you look at
it, then people are like, we want Papa Roach and this and that.
No.
Hey, when they did the Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens thing at the Rumble, and they had that Papa Roach song in the, it fit that that promo. It fit really well. But
from a marketing standpoint, rock is on the downcline at the moment. It's more hip hop and stuff that's on the upcline. That's the thing that's like the big thing at the moment. There's a lot of hip hop. It's got a lot bigger. You know what I mean?
For me, I think it depends on from event to event. Like if you have Extreme Rules, I feel like maybe you should be a bit more dark and grungy. But if it's fucking Backlash in like France, fuck it, why not have a French hip-hop artist doing their thing? Like, look at Backlash Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Bad Bunny fucking rapping himself in the ring. I didn't understand a word that he said, but fuck, I was vibing it.
The only thing for me is I didn't like this year's Royal Rumble song.
Yeah, then that's what I was going to say. This year's
Dua
Rumble
Lipa.
with Charlie...
I like Dua Lipa, but
Charlie
I
XCX.
didn't think it worked. Oh, I thought it was Dua Lipa.
No, Charlie XCX.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was Dua Lipa. It's not a bad song, but I was like, it didn't fit the Rumble for me. Whereas, again, if that had
Look, I don't need 2003 Metallica with Saint Anger, but I will take Crack Addict any day. Some context for those who don't know.
WrestleMania 19, good times.
Yes, Limp Bizkit is one of my favorite bands of all time. I am waiting for them to put Crack Addict on Spotify. We only just got Disturbed's Glass Shatters from the Steve Austin theme.
I still need to listen to that remix that they've just done.
Give me Crack Addict. I need it. I love Crack Addict. It is up there with like my top WrestleMania themes. If I had to pick, I'm gonna look at all the WrestleMania themes now just to see where I'd rank, because that's number one for sure. But like, if I had to pick like a top 3, I feel like it would still be number 1.
But like, even you mentioned
Crack Addict,
you mentioned Metallica, though, right? I think it was No Mercy 2008. They had All Nightmare Long from that Metallica album. And at that time, for even the Metallica fans were like, this is a trash album, this, and this.
Yes.
But that song fits that theme for that pay-per-view.
does,
Like, it varies. It's all
and
contextual.
see, that's what I'm kind of liking about this Triple H era, is he's really tailoring the
WrestleMania
songs
27,
to suit
Tony
things.
Temper, Written in the Stars.
Well,
That was a super mainstream track.
the fucking...
Wasn't heavy in the slightest, but it fit so perfectly.
All the music that NXT Gold had when it was Triple H, just Triple H and Shawn, like, running the show, was really fucking
Poppy?
good. Because I didn't... Yeah, I
Anything
actually
Poppy,
liked the
I'd say.
Poppy
Yeah.
one. That was smart.
Well, even what year
I
was
really
it where
liked
Flow
that.
Rider, I think it was WrestleMania 32 or 33, 32, where Flow Rider, My House, was the WrestleMania thing. Welcome to my...
Oh my
It's literally
God.
just house music, but it went so well with, like, all of the fucking
Yeah.
clips and everything that they were showing.
Have I ever told you guys about my
Jesus.
hatred for Flow Rider after a certain... I have a hatred for one song of his in
CIC
particular
Pod
to the
exclusive
point...
here. Tell us, Ryan.
Is it apple
Yeah.
bottom jeans, boots with the
No,
furs?
no. Love that song. It is going down for real.
Oh yeah, I've heard that
Let me
over.
tell you the
That's
trauma.
oversaturated.
I have.
Again, that fits for highlight packages and stuff like that. I wouldn't be mad
that
if that was a
SummerSlam.
pay-per-view theme. I would not.
But it was SummerSlam 2014, and the reason I remember that is because I have deep-seated trauma with that fucking song. So it was the WWE 2K15 roster reveal. It was at like midnight for us. But you know how some live streams, they'll start at like an hour before
I remember what you're
in like a
talking about
waiting
now.
room. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh my god, this roster reveal. I don't know what time it starts in like Australian Eastern Standard Time. So I'm sitting there like, oh my god, like, you know, maybe it's up in like 10 minutes, like on the hour or something. It's either like at like 1:30 or some shit. It was some dumb time. But for like an hour straight, all I heard was, because it was around the SummerSlam 2014 time, it was going down for real, to the point where I cannot hear that song
Oh my god.
without getting physically frustrated. To the point where I have walked out of rooms completely mid-conversation because it's come on an ad. I don't hate Flow Rider. He has some bangers. Good Feeling, Wild Ones, like...
That's another one. Fucking
yeah.
WrestleMania 28. WrestleMania 28, the John
Yeah.
Cena fucking rock thing. Hey, I heard you.
Yeah.
Not a wrestling song. It is not a wrestling song on the surface.
No.
But when you put it in
Girls
that
Gone
context,
Wild,
makes sense.
Madonna?
it works so well.
When the hell... I'm looking at all the song, like WrestleMania theme songs. They used a Madonna song at
Was
28?
that during... I was going to say, was that during the Rock and Wrestling connection? Because that would have made sense.
Oh,
But 28,
yeah.
they didn't.
No. What?
That's
I watched
What
that
was
live.
the WrestleMania 28?
It was the first
what was the
WrestleMania that I watched
card?
live. Why do I not remember this?
We're gonna have to go back and watch that now.
Same. I'm going to look at what match that was.
Now, this is
featured
one
on.
thing I will say before Teak asks the next, or Nova, I should say. Same thing. She's had
Same
both
thing.
had both names on the show. On Netflix, a lot of the songs that were dubbed over on Peacock and the network and stuff like that have been like put back with that Netflix money. So it's interesting to watch, go back and watch shows. And actually, that's what we should go back and watch WrestleMania 27 just to see if they've put Johnny Cash back in. That's one that's exciting.
I will... If I'm ever invited for a watch-along, I will absolutely do it. I love watch-alongs because I say the most most random shit. I figured out where they used Madonna, by the way, on that paper if you're looking at the card.
Okay.
Because there was one women's match in that entire card. So I don't think they would have used it for Sheamus and Daniel Bryan. I can't imagine them using Madonna for CM Punk vs. Jericho. So my guess is it was the promo song for Kelly Kelly and Maria Menounos versus Beth Phoenix and Eve.
Oh
That is my
yes!
assumption.
No, yes, but that's another one that reminded when the Cell came down at that same pay-per-view. A lot of the replays, they edit out the Cell
They had
coming down.
Madonna?
No, they had the Cell coming down to
No,
Metallica.
that'd be sick.
They had the Cell coming down to Metallica, and it was actually edited out in a lot of things.
Oh, my ADHD brain just
Nah,
picturing
I
SpongeBob
need-
getting lowered. Madonna getting lowered.
What I need now, I need the Undertaker and Triple H just death staring each other in each other's faces with the Cell coming down to Girls Gone Wild. Yeah, Girls Gone Wild. I need to make that happen.
I reckon we should. I reckon we should change that. Right, like a prayer's making a big comeback.
come back.
Miley's
Yeah.
version.
The orchestral version from Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh,
They're looking
yeah.
at each other. The cell's coming down. Life is a mystery. Tell me that doesn't work, though. Tell me that doesn't work.
Drew comes down. I don't know why. I'm just picturing Drew.
Drew McIntyre. Jesus Christ.
Where rap worked really well in a promo video, where I don't feel like rock would have worked as well, is Bray versus Cena at Mania 30 with Legacy by Eminem. I feel like that was the perfect song for that, and nothing else could have replaced that. No rock song could have done that video package justice.
This is why I love the COC pod conversations, because we've just gone on a fucking tangent now about songs in wrestling. It's contextual. You can't be like...
The Red Hot Chili Peppers was WrestleMania 24?
I semi-remember that.
Yes, I semi-remember
In
that.
Orlando.
Hey-o, this is what... how is that a wrestling song? That's not getting me pumped for WrestleMania. That's making me want to...
Chill out, man. Smoke a doob.
Go to Canberra for some only legal in Canberra activity. That's making me want to chill out. That's not making me like, yeah, WrestleMania.
So what you're saying is I need to move back to Canberra. I'm gonna get stabbed live on air by Novalee. No, but like it's all contextual, because like you see it in the promos and you're like, okay, but on paper, yeah, okay. You're like, okay, Flow Rider shouldn't be here, this and this. But the amount of, like, again, it's on, like, the Facebook comment sections. It's like, oh, here's the soundtrack for blah, blah, blah. They've done a leaked one for 2K25, and if that's the case, I'm kind of like, I'm not super fussed. But
Red Hot Chili Peppers, like, Can't Stop would kind of make sense.
But people will literally be like, this is killing wrestling.
Yeah.
This is why wrestling is dying, because you're not using rock music. And
Again,
it's
it's probably
like,
not
okay, calm the fuck down, bud. Like, there's literally a video of Jim Ross lashing out at a commercial, and it's like, okay, for the 900th time, ladies and gentlemen, here's Creed. And that they were doing the My Sacrifice videos.
Yeah.
And then he's like, all right.
Oh my God.
And there's literally footage of JR, like, because they're not on air, but it's still recording. And it's like, okay, ladies and gentlemen, we want you to cry. And like, he's just being a complete dick because he's sick of hearing it for the 100th fucking time in the same night. And I'm like, I
feel like we need more Creed in current wrestling.
Like, but again,
I need With Arms Wide Open.
This is just making me want to go on a road trip with C Factor again, because he just has like a dad rock playlist.
Okay,
so good.
So Gunther and Jey Uso, can you take me higher? Yeet!
No yeet!
Yeet! Man. See, and then it's just like the Gunther. He's like little fucking things thrown in.
I need someone to edit that together. If someone can make it With Arms Wide Open, what would that go with? I keep up to date with wrestling, but like I watch previous stuff more than I kind of keep up with stuff now, because I just don't have time. I keep up with everything, but like I watched the Rumble and I was like, okay. But like I also understand that maybe like current wrestling isn't for me because I'm not watching it every week now. Like, a lot of people were really happy about the Jey Uso thing, and I'm like, because I don't watch every week, and I feel like I've missed a bunch of shit. Because I came back, and this dude's going crazy, and I'm like, with the fans and stuff, and everyone's going wild for him, and I'm like, okay, fair enough. I don't know what I've missed, but he's doing something right. But when he won the Rumble, it was for everyone else. It was not for me. I was like, okay, I don't really understand this. And then I saw the crowd reaction. And I'm like, okay, I understand this now. Look, like, the internet shit, like, you're never going to make everyone on the internet happy, especially with wrestling. But you look at the live crowd, and that's what you're really focusing on. And I've seen on, like, Twitter this past week where they've had to like redo his entrance when he's already in the ring or something, because he's so like
2
over.
weeks, the crowd has literally chanted like one more time, to the point where that's why he's opening the show, because like they don't really have time constraints on Netflix as much, but it's like if you have his segment first, if he's out there for say maybe 5 minutes longer than they did intend, they can adjust accordingly rather than have to like rush it on the fly. I will just say this
Yeah,
though, before Nova asks her next question, because we've just waited ranting about shit now. I will just say...
Yeah, I'm going to stop ranting about shit so you guys can get your questions.
You came into this as like, you've even said like, you're not keeping up that much. You're just like, okay, whatever. But what gets me is the amount of people that were like, oh, John Cena's going to win and he's going to be Super Cena and we want someone different. And then when Super Cena gets pushed off the apron, they're like, this is bullshit. It should have been John Cena because I'm my nostalgia and he deserves 17. Like, make up your mind. Do you want John Cena or do you want someone different?
They never know what they want.
Or do you want that someone different
know.
to just not be Jey Uso? In which case, who else did you want it to be? Like, fuck.
I am like, look, I'm not an AEW guy at all. I will say that now. I would watch AEW just for CM Punk stuff. I only really keep up with CM Punk stuff. So me as a big CM Punk guy wanted CM Punk to win. But that's just that's the stuff for me. Like that's the stuff I'm like I would enjoy that. I don't expect everyone to like enjoy that. That's not for everyone, and that's where I'm very aware of stuff like that. Where I'm like, this is what I want out of my wrestling, but that's not where everything's going now. Like, are they really going to give CM Punk the main event of WrestleMania? He wins the Rumble and all this? No, probably not. And I kind of need to accept that, and I have, where I'm like, okay, I'm interested to see what Jey Uso does. But let's get to the question, because I'm going off on tangents about fucking the most random shit, and I'm super excited about the questions you guys have for me. Like,
we do it all the time too, though. It's our ADHD. We're just like, yep, so this, and then just jumps to a whole other end.
Stuff and things. It's going to be a 2-hour interview. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So
I want the questions. I'm going to stop going off on tangents about how much I love Limp Bizkit and Creed.
You know what I love? I love lamp.
I love cheese. My favorite's Gouda.
Jesus Christ.
And I fucking hate Saint Anger by Metallica. And fuck Going Down for Real by Flow Rider. And fuck the WWE 2K15 roster reveal. And them doing that to me.
I'm going to make that the song of the week just to be a dick. But anyway, continue.
Nova, what have you got for me?
Change of subject.
So it kind of goes back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it goes back to the Super Bowl stuff again. So it's like, as we record this, like we mentioned before, it's 3 days post Super Bowl. Fly, Eagles fly. Go Birds! How are you feeling when you woke up this past Monday? Personally, I wanted to vomit. Anyway.
I was stressed beyond belief all of Monday until there was probably about a minute to go, because I'm like, somehow Patrick Mahomes is going to pull out some bullshit. Actually, no. It was before the 2-minute warning. It was once the sigh of relief for me.
When they started celebrating at 3 minutes, because that's when I started chilling out.
Yeah.
Well, the fact that they
when the Gatorade pour.
The Gatorade on the coach
3 minutes something left.
There was like 4.5 minutes left, and they just fucking...
They're like, fuck it, we've got this. And I was like, okay, cool. I can breathe now. I don't feel sick anymore.
Yeah. The Gatorade pour was on. I was like, surely they can't. They can't go back from this, right? And Dad's like, my dad looks at me. He's like, they're down like 3 touchdowns, and there's like 2 minutes to go. Unless you guys are really that bad, all of a sudden, I think you'll be fine.
And the defense was some of the strongest that we've ever fucking had. I was like, holy fuck, that defense line was great. So I was like, surely not.
We need to re-sign Zach Bourne.
Yes, for
somehow
God's sake.
Keep Nakobe Dean.
Yep.
Like, get it together. Come on, Howie. You know what you got to do.
Get it fucking sorted. We need a 3-peat. Fuck
Howie
those guys.
I look. I don't want to hurt my own feelings. So I'm just going to say I'm very happy with the one. I'm going to go back to Abbott Elementary on Disney Plus and just be absorbed in all of their Eagles love until September rolls around. Well, until the draft rolls around, and then I can kind of immerse myself in it again.
I need to get back into like watching college ball stuff, so I know who these draft picks are that are coming up.
I need to get KO back. Like, I missed the entire college season this fucking past year, which I've missed all my NBA, I've missed all my NHL. But
same. It's because friggin' bills and shit. It's like fuck
and
that.
KO keep increasing their prices and reducing their quality.
Well, when
it
comes to NFL, I hope that the days and worked out for you guys.
Yes, thank you for that, by the way.
Yeah.
You're okay. But yeah, so, look, we're not going to get him, especially not at 30, but I would love Abdul Carter.
Okay.
I know it's not going to happen. He wants to be an Eagle. He's made it very clear this week, but I don't think we'll get him, unfortunately.
So my next question that kind of feeds in a bit more. It's kind of like, on a scale from 1 to 10, how much did you enjoy those pre-game beers at 9 a.m.? I was jealous because, like, fuck, why didn't I get beers?
I was a good boy. I ate beforehand.
Smart.
I was keeping up with the water. Because, like, going back to what I was talking about earlier, like, I was pretty stupid with alcohol from, like, 2018 until about 2023. So I've kind of learned now how much I can drink, what my limits are, when to stop, things like that. Things like limits I never really had on myself before. So I'm very proud of myself. But I was like, okay, I'm going to eat my first beer because they opened the bar at 8:30. So I didn't feel bad because I walked in and everyone else had already started drinking. So it wasn't like I was the one guy drinking in the corner at like 9 a.m. So I felt pretty good about that because I was like, oh, I'll wait until like 11 or I'll wait until kickoff at like 10:30 or whenever it was. But I walked in at 9 and everyone else was like on like their second or third beers in like that, and people had trays and like beer towers already. I'm like, what the fuck? So I was like, okay, I can have my light beer. I can have my light beer to start the day.
I mean, technically, it's like Super Bowl's essentially our Christmas, so just start early, right?
Yeah, this is my WrestleMania.
If people can crack a cold one at 9 a.m. on Christmas, and look, I've been guilty of that myself from time to time, why can't I enjoy a cold beverage while watching Super Bowl or WrestleMania or... Man, I should have got drinks for the Royal Rumble now you mention it, but it started at 10 a.m. and I was like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't, but fuck, maybe I should have.
Yeah, our mate Mick was digging into him, was like, fuck yeah, we should have.
I was a very good boy. I was a very good boy. This time.
But going back a little bit, Ryan, actually, on February the 8th, you did a 12-hour stream for autism, and you actually raised $250, which I do believe was in US dollars. I could be wrong on that. How did all of that come to be, man?
So, I have, as I'm sure everyone listening, if you paid even the smidget of attention to this episode, I love the Philadelphia Eagles. Shocking, I know.
What?
That's like Triple H turning on Shawn Michaels in 2002 at SummerSlam. The same pay-per-view that had Test versus The Undertaker. But I love the Eagles, and I wanted to do another charity stream because I did one back in 2021, and for the Black Dog Institute, which is a for those who don't know, it's a mental health organization here in Australia. And I was really trying to think. I was like, I want to do another charity stream while I have these 2 weeks off that I'm currently on, because I'm spending time with my newborn daughter and really trying to bond with her and help my partner out and all that sort of stuff. And 2 weeks was all I could get off. So I'm like, I really want to do a charity stream in that time. My partner was super supportive of it, but I was really trying to think about who I wanted to raise money for. And there was a lot of back and forth trying to get it organized. But as soon as I thought about who I wanted to do, every single time it was, I want to do the Eagles Autism Foundation because their mission is so important. And the work they've already done is incredible. So every dollar raised goes into like research and care programs The Philadelphia Eagles were the very first NFL team to have a sensory room built into their stadium. During Super Bowl weekend, I think it was the Thursday before the Super Bowl, they were running like a I can't think of the word for it. I have it written down because I was talking about it on stream. But they were running like clinics. So people living with autism and their families could be a part of these activities in their own sensory hours. So they weren't crowded by a bunch of people. They were like, there was like a quarterback clinic and all these sorts of things. I know students from Tulane University and LSU were volunteering for these clinics. They were specially trained by the Eagles Autism Foundation. They had 2 sensory rooms operating on site near the clinics to just ensure a safe space for everyone living with autism and their families, to ensure that those, like, all of them were having the best time while feeling comfortable and safe. They want these people and their families to be able to have experiences just like everyone else, because why shouldn't they? They want them to be able to go to Eagles games, and if they need to leave because it's too loud or it's too overwhelming or the lights are too much, but they don't want to leave the game, they're not stuck there and they're not having to just leave because of it. They can go to the sensory room, they can have some time, and if they want to, they can come back, which is just an amazing mission, amazing cause, and I'm really proud of raising that 250 USD, which is around 400 Australian. It's honestly something I look at as one of the proudest moments of my life, because doing these things and raising money for foundations like this and getting awareness out is so important. And all of these foundations and charities can easily be overlooked in everyday life, like not even on purpose, just because everyone has so much stuff going on, that it is so important for me to do these charity streams where it's like, I'm going to sit here and play Madden for 12 hours. That happened to be the day that PlayStation Network went down in the middle of my stream for, I think it was like over 24 hours. So I had to play like AI, like me versus AI, for I think it was like 6 hours of the stream, and it got difficult because it was like the same kind of pattern and the same routine. But I was just like, look, I want to do this. I want to finish this out because it's so important that I do. And I had a few people actually thank me after because of their own family members who live with autism, or they live with autism, and they were so thankful that I was raising awareness and helping raise funds for such an important cause.
Yeah, I think it's just awesome.
That was such a long answer.
I know, like, it was good because you were showing, like, your passion and stuff behind it. Like, that's one of the things I love about the Eagles so much, is because you got those cool, like, passionate fans, but then all the charity work that the Eagles put in, it's amazing.
More places would do that.
And then, yeah, just having that space, because, like, personally, like, I've got ADHD, undiagnosed, I reckon, autism, because my sister's been diagnosed with it. So it's kind of like, if I ever get the chance to go to an Eagles game at home, it's like, it's good to know they have, like, that facility and stuff like that. Like, it's just so awesome.
Yeah, well, like, and that's one thing, cool. Like, not to come back to wrestling, but my ADHD mind is just what it does. As much as I'm not a big AEW fan, that's one of their major things, is like,
headphones,
you know, every like venue they're in, they try and have that little, I don't know if they're doing it in Australia, whether they're here in Australia this weekend as we record this, I hope they do, but that's like one of their big things, is like, they you know, they work with autisms, and they have like the little basically care packages where it's like it has the earphones, it'll have like a little fidget toy, little things here and there, and it's just like, if you need it, it's there. And I was like, why are more places and sports and... Like, I know in Australia we don't have as many resources, but some of the, I think it was over in Perth, actually. It may have been Adelaide, so someone will yell at me if I'm wrong. But one of the indie companies in Australia actually started doing that. They partnered with one of the groups here. I don't know if it was EPW or RCW. I think it was one of the two, but again, neckbeards will yell at me if I'm wrong. But someone in Australia started doing it, and people in Australia have started to do it. And I just wish more sports in general would.
Yeah.
Well, even like concerts and stuff, right? Like, obviously it's going to be loud, but sometimes you get overwhelmed, and then you've just got the people that have got the headphones on in the crowd. But why not have a little space where they can just take a breath? Like, I myself, I've told the story many times on the podcast, but I'll tell it to Ryan again because he hasn't heard it.
Yeah.
I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was like 3 or 4 years old. A pediatrician, literally at the time when I was a kid, Harry Potter was all the rage, literally described it as that scene from fucking Chamber of Secrets. Like, he's like, you're literally knocking at the door of autism, and he literally used Harry Potter as an analogy that when the portal seals shut and they run headfirst into the brick wall, he's like, literally, that wall is autism, and then the trolley is me, and I'm just headbutting that fucking wall. He's like, there's more ADHD, but you're literally hitting the wall here. And I tell you what, sometimes I feel like a hand or foot makes its way through that portal.
Your brother's got full autism too, so it's kind of like, it's in the family.
Me as a 30-year-old male, I'm like, fuck. Maybe I should learn how to cope with my emotions and regulate. Or maybe public places should just be more aware and accessible. Who knows which of the two it is, right?
It's just so awesome that you raise that money, dude. That's just awesome. It's such a good bloody cause.
Yeah, I was so proud of it, and that's come in with like kind of my new attitude towards life, just in general. I'm trying to put more good into the world because there was a long time there where I wasn't. I was not a great person to be around. I was never like when I'd go to shows and stuff, like, not to bring it back to kind of what we were talking about before, but like I've met John at some wrestling shows and stuff, and I was like never rude or anything. Like, I was never like, oh, what do you want or anything. Like, I'd talk to people and I'd be like present, but I know now, because I've put so much work in to be a better person and kind of like be more alert to things, that maybe I was kind of dead behind the eyes a little bit sometimes. Like, the lights were on but no one was home sometimes. And it was never like intentional. But there's been people who have come up to me and they're like, are you good? And I'm like, yeah, I guess. Why? And I would get like defensive about it because I didn't know what was really happening. But now I look back and I'm like, no, I'm putting all my effort into like being a good role model for like my daughter and trying to just put positivity into the world instead of negativity. Because I feel like the world needs more positivity. Even if it is like a charity stream, or you buy someone a beer down at the pub, or whatever it may be. Like, it can be like the smallest thing, or the biggest thing. But as long as you're putting positivity into the world and you're making someone's day a little bit better, I strive to do that every single day now. Because I've been in that place where I'm like, I'm not a great person, and I want to change this. So that charity stream is something I'm really proud of. Just because there wasn't a lot of advertisement for it. I think I advertised it, 4 or 5 days before it happened, but that's because I was going back and forth trying to get all the logistics of it sorted out. And obviously, being halfway across the world, it isn't really easy to work out logistics, because when I wake up and I'm emailing someone in Philadelphia, they're knocking off for the day.
Yeah.
So
true, yeah.
But we got it done.
hectic.
I give you credit in general though, because I think the longest stream I've done was like 3.5 hours, and even my usual go-to on mine is I try to go about 2 hours, but even like sometimes it's just like fuck, man, like granted I'm blind, so it doesn't help with my eyesight, but like it's just like people think you're just playing video games, but like even that, you're just sitting there in the one spot straight with like no breaks for a couple of hours, and it's like, dude, like how the hell did you do that for like more than literally half a day, because there's 24 hours in a day, but like that's insane. And
I've done a 24-hour stream,
and I popped in, I think like 2 or 3 different times throughout the stream. Like I was just waking up as you were starting, and then like I jumped on during the afternoon while Nova was organising her birthday.
I only got to pop in once because I was running around doing birthday shit.
Yeah, but I was just like, dude, like, and you're sitting there and you're like, and I'm like, you can tell that you were getting tired, but you were still like, lights were on, you were raising money, and I was just like, like kudos to this dude. But like, what was the deciding factor? Because I know like it was the first stream you've done in a little bit, but what kind of made you get into streaming to begin with? Because obviously I stream, I'm trying to do every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday now. Cheap plug. But Nova Lee herself is looking at trying to get into doing streaming. She's actually joining me for a Valentine's Day stream, so which would have already happened by the time this episode goes out. But like, what made you kind of want to start streaming, and what advice do you have for people potentially, selfishly, wanting to start streaming?
Yeah, so I really got into streaming and just content creation seriously in 2020. Once again, like, lost my job, kind of lost everything around me, couldn't wrestle, couldn't do anything. So I was like, what the hell do I do with my life? I started streaming. I found, like, a good group of people. We used to play Among Us because that was, like, the biggest thing then. We'd do streams, and we as, like, a group, we'd pull together, you know, pretty good streams. They were super entertaining for me and like the group, but we weren't really pulling in huge numbers, but we didn't care about that. We were just having fun. 2021, I was kind of consistently doing it. I was like, because I wanted an escape. This is kind of when I was starting to try and turn into a better person. I'm like, I wonder, like, there's a lot of people out there going through a tough time. If I can just entertain one person who just randomly scrolls through, then I've done a good job. So we started with Among Us, and then we kind of all drifted off doing our own little things. I was doing Minecraft streams for a while, just like because I didn't know what I was doing, and it was fun. When streaming for me really kicked off was during the Grand Theft Auto roleplay sort of era. It's still pretty strong, but during like the second or third lockdown in like 2021, around 2022, those sorts of years, it was a huge boom. NoPixel 3.0 had just kind of dropped. You had huge streamers like Saikuno, Valkyrie, Fusely, XQC, all those sorts of guys like going on NoPixel and bringing their huge fan base to it. And I had the best time. I have met some of my best friends through GTA roleplay. Some of my best friends to this day. I have built lifelong bonds with these people because we played these characters and told amazing stories, and we got to know each other outside of the game. But like they were some of my biggest numbers. I remember one day I was running around, and like when you're in roleplay, I don't know how much you guys know about like kind of the rules of GTA roleplay and like the streaming of it and stuff. But you're not allowed to metagame, which is you're not allowed to know anything that your character doesn't know. So you can't go on Twitch and find a famous streamer and just kind of hang around them. That's not, like, you'll get banned within an instant for doing that. I was just running around near the hospital, and I hear this familiar voice. It was Corpse. And then I hear another familiar voice, and it's Valkyrie. And I'm like, what's going on here? And my character just, I don't know, got tossed in the ocean or something. I had to respawn, so he didn't remember anything, and he's like running out of the hospital, and he's asking them for directions, and next I know, a bunch of, like, Valkyrie goes offline maybe an hour later, but because I, like, interacted with her and people liked my accent and thought I was funny, they all came over from YouTube just to find me, and I had, like, 500-600 people in my chat at once, which for a small streamer was like, holy shit, that's a little insane. Same thing happened with Foozly a few years, like probably a year or so later. She posted an ad like in the Yellow Pages type app in the game. Like, no, she didn't. I was driving down the road in game and I saw her broken down. And because like Ryan Jacobs in game is like a super nice guy, he's like, oh, I'll stop and help her out. And she plays this like really rich character whose whole thing is, if you're broke, I'm busy. It's such an incredible character. But he stops and helps her, and then he finds her number in like the Yellow Pages. Her name is April Foos. And he calls her up, and like next I know, I've got like a bunch of Foosleys chat in my chat, like saying just like thanks for the roleplay, and it was funny, and it was like a 30-second interaction. So in terms of advice, because I just went on another tangent, in terms of advice, just be yourself. People can tell if you're not being authentic in your streams. Like if I'm getting tired in a stream, I don't try and be overly energetic, because people are going to look at that and go, what's going on here? Like, obviously don't sit there and go, I am tired. This is just it. I'm just sitting here now. Because people are going to be like, oh, well, this kind of sucks. But just be authentic. And like, do things with other people. That's something I'm like kind of looking into now. I want to play online games with people. I want to do like when like WWE 2K25 comes out. I want to do stuff on like the island and stuff with like my pals, and just like kind of network out again, because when I was networking out, those were my most kind of like popular streams. And not because I was like piggybacking off anyone, but how are people going to see you, especially when everyone kind of does Twitch now? It's very oversaturated. It's very hard to get noticed. So like if you do stuff like with pals and you're having fun, you're not really thinking about the numbers. Because when you're streaming, and that's probably advice that's most important, don't worry about the numbers. If you get in your head about, oh, I got these many followers, I got these many subscribers, I got this, I got that, it is a very easy way to burn out, and it's a very easy way to start disliking it.
In all honesty, though, like literally last week, I had a stream with no one else, like for 2 hours. I talked to myself for 2 hours. It was actually one of the funnest streams that I've done. Because I was just like, da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, man, if someone does come on this chat, they're going to be like, what the fuck is happening? This dude's a crackhead. Because I was just vibing. Like, I was just like, let's go.
Yeah.
Callback. No, I think that'll probably be the song of the week, actually. But like, even just today, I've downloaded Fortnite, which I'm trash at Fortnite. And I did just a game just for the sake of it. I came 56 out of 100, so I'm like, hey, maybe I'm not as trash as I thought I was. Like, it's still decent. I only got 1 kill, but I'm going to download Rocket League tonight as well. But I'm just trying to do, like, more variety and shit as well.
You've also just started branching out, like, networking with, what is his name?
African.
Yeah, African.
And he's like, shit. He's like, shit, word I can't say.
It's good.
shit, N-word. He's like, I'll play Fortnite with you. And he's like, I'll play Rocket Knight with you. And I'm like, hell yeah, let's go. Every time I come into his stream now, he's like, he recognizes me, and he's like, oh my god, you're back. And he's like followed me back, and a bunch of his followers, awesome. Like that are also streamers that are like in his party for Fortnite have like all followed me. And they're like, shit. He's like, you don't have to be good. His his tagline is literally L gameplay W vibes. And I was like, damn it, I wish I thought of that.
that honestly, that's my whole
But
fucking
like
channel.
even yesterday, I was doing
suck at
Assassin's
games.
Creed, and Ryan popped in to say hello. And after Ryan left, there was like no one in the chat. It was just me. And like I come around the corner, and there's just 2 fucking grizzly bears. I was like, motherfucker, like where the fuck did the bear come from? And I'm just like flipping out, and I'm like, that was just me having a natural reaction. And again, if someone had jumped on the stream at that point, it would have looked like I was having some sort of fucking fit. But I was just like, I know I'm blind, but how the fuck did I not see the grizzly bear that's just sitting there, almost ate my face, and then there was another one on the other side, and I was like, how the fuck did 2 grizzly bears just hide in plain sight? Like, I know I'm blind, but it was a thing. It was kind of funny, and I was just like, God damn it. I was like, I wish I had that followers because it was funny.
I got a pretty good community on Twitch, and I'm very grateful for my community on Twitch. But a few years ago, one of the first story games I played was Far Cry 5.
Oh,
if you ever go into my chat and you ever like subscribe, I don't know if you need to subscribe to see the emotes that I've got, but there's one that is called
you can see them, you just can't use
SWAT
them.
Bees. Yeah, it just says SWAT Bees, and it is such a running joke between like 4 people in the chat, but it's my most used emote. And the story behind it, I was playing Far Cry 5 with someone who I consider my sister, who is one of the mods in my chat. And we'd play it on stream. And there was one time where we were going through like a prepper stash. And it was really confusing. It was like a maze. And we got halfway through it. And she threw a grenade without telling me. And then she disconnected by accident because her internet went out. It didn't affect me. The grenade didn't affect me. I just heard like a grenade like below me go off, and I'm like, what the hell? And then all of a sudden, my screen is going crazy, and all it says is press X or something to SWAT bees. Because when she threw that grenade, she threw up like 2 beehives, but didn't tell me because she didn't know. So she's in the chat, and it just, for like a minute straight, all it says is press X to SWAT bees, or press square to SWAT bees. And then SWAT bees became such a meme in my chat between me, Nonsense, who's the one who's like my sister, and Fire Broadside, who is Bucky, the Buccaneer.
Still sad that show we were meant to be on together got cancelled, but that's another story.
So every time I see Bucky now, he just goes, SWAT bees. Whenever he's in my chat, he will subscribe purely just to use. I'm pretty sure he subscribes purely to use the SWAT bees emote. It has been like
Coyote,
3 years.
though. Like he's always got like, because he's like, his man cave is kind of like, it's like I think it's the shed that he's like turned into like a makeshift like stream
I
room.
think it's garage, yeah.
Yeah, but like you always hear like there's always people going up and down his street doing burnouts, and there's literally now just a hashtag Hoons emote. And every time you hear the cars like go past, it's like brrr, and it's just like Hoons.
You made that, didn't you? Or
No,
was that another
the
one?
Hoons one was one of his old ones.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
I did just make 10 or 11 emotes for Coyote. Cheap plug.
Hell yeah. I love Coyote. Like, and that's what I was saying earlier about, like, I was pretty good friends, or, like, I liked a lot of people in wrestling. Like, some of my best friends came from wrestling. Just because I kind of left the scene and didn't like a lot of people in wrestling, or, like, distanced myself from a lot of people in wrestling. The people who were always loyal to me or always really nice to me, even when I was like going through my struggles and things like that, and they still kind of gave me a chance. Because look, there were a lot of people who didn't have to give me another chance. Because as I've said a few times, I wasn't a great person to be around. But like people like Jake Gibson,
Shout out to Jake. Been on this podcast many times.
Great guy, one of my best friends. Buccaneer, another one who kind of stuck by me, no matter what. Whenever he's in like Sydney, he'll contact me and be like, "Hey," like there was one night, like just to go off on another little story. It was like 9 p.m. and I'm in bed, and I just get this text from him out of nowhere. Didn't even know he was in Sydney. He's like, hey, what you doing tonight? I'm like, bro, I'm in bed. He's like, cool. Come into the city, come to the Crowbar. We're seeing a concert tonight.
Oh, hell yeah.
Someone didn't show up, and now I got a free ticket. I'll shout you beers for the night. And I'm like, bro, I'm in bed. It is 9 p.m. I'm an old man. But I still went. I got out of bed, and I went. And it was one of the most fun nights I can remember. And there's so many people that I'm not purposely omitting or anything, but there were a core group of people that I've met through wrestling that I'm like, we may not talk all the time, but they're genuinely good people that, like yourself, Kyla Knight. I met her at a Suplex show a few years ago, and she is genuinely, she's one of the most genuine people I think I've ever met in wrestling. We don't talk a great deal, but whenever one of us does something cool, we'll like it on Facebook and kind of show our support in that way. But that's I met her when I was kind of coming out of being a shithead. So I was trying to open up and meet new people, and she was super receptive to it, and we had great conversations just about wrestling and just being goofy backstage, because I don't think she really knew anyone. I had just come back to Suplex after a while, so I didn't really know a lot of the people there. So I was just like, look, I'm just going to talk to a bunch of people and kind of see what sticks. Yeah, there's a lot of people in wrestling that have kind of had my back since day one. A lot of people will see him on social media and stuff like that, but I've known Mark Irons for 14 years now. Even before I came into the wrestling scene, he knew my brother. He was best friends with my brother when they were kids. So yeah, I kept some people around wrestling kind of around because they were good people. Coyote was definitely to bring it back. Coyote is someone who when I had the time when I was doing a lot of streaming, I'd raid him and go into his chats and stuff, and he would do the same, and it was always a really good time. So big shout outs to Coyote, big shout outs to Bucky.
50 followers, so I can actually do raids now as well. So
that's cool.
Congrats.
Still haven't quite reached affiliate yet, but I was it popped up, and I was wait, I'm is this because I've reached 50 followers or something that I can do it now? And Coyote's yeah, I think so, and I was fuck yeah. I was I almost
saying, if you need to trim,
almost
you need to trim any of this shit for easier listening.
Honestly, this is fine. But I almost bumped it the other day, and I was fuck, what is that? And I'm oh shit, I just almost raided someone, and I was still midstream. I wasn't ready to wrap up, and I was shit, me and my 2 people in chat almost accidentally raided, and I was I didn't even know that was a thing now.
That's cool.
I was
it's super, it's super helpful when people do that, and people be oh, I've only got one follower, it's not going to make a difference. Half of the people that I've
followed, honestly, at this point, have probably been from people that Coyote have raided, at the end of his streams,
Same,
even African and Charm and people like that. And now, they'll see me and they're hi, and I'm this person remembers me.
No, that's exactly right. I have gone. I usually lurk in people's streams. I was lurking in yours yesterday. I'm doing stuff in the background. I'm still there and paying attention, but I just can't talk in chat. But I always kind of lurk in people's chats, so their viewership goes up, and people can hit affiliate and things like that. And I will come back 6 hours later, and I'm 3 raids in by this point. I'm so separated from what I was actually watching, and that's half my follow list now. Just people I found through people waiting or people waiting.
3 different streams. I think one change was just because he changed games, so he changed stream. But then he was gone for a few hours, and then he came back, and I was just hello, and he's you're still here, and I'm I guess that's the joys of being on the other side of the world. It's it's the middle of the day for me. I got fucking nothing on, dude. I'm just vibing.
Yeah.
But real quick, before we get to the last questions, we technically got 3 questions left. But before we get to the last question, power for those. What gig did Bucky take you to? What was the concert?
Voyager.
Okay, nice. Hell
I'd
yeah.
never heard of them, and he's like, "You're coming? I don't care if you've never heard of them. It's going to be a great time. You need to trust me."
I can't sit here and tell you
I
that
will.
I've listened to their music, but I have heard the
I
name.
feel like I've heard the name
I've
as
heard
well.
the name, but this is the
Highly
part,
recommend.
this is
They're
the part
very
of the
fun.
pod, Ryan, as we start to wind down. This is the part of the pod where we mark out just a little bit. So, with that being said, what is your favourite match of all time, both that you've had personally and that you've seen? And when I say seen, it can be on TV, it can be live in person. It's entirely open for interpretation.
Oh no. Okay. Both are really hard because I am my own biggest critic. And if there's two matches, or there's not just two matches, there's three matches that I look back on and I'm like, I love those matches. I've never watched them back, so if anyone else watches them, they might be like, oh, that didn't hold up, but I just have great memories of like everything going well and just having fun in the matches. And when it comes to like the best match I've ever watched, I'm like, holy shit, okay. There could be so many for so many different reasons, storytelling reasons, in-ring action, like there's so many different variables. I'm gonna cheat and I'm gonna pick two that have tied the first two that kind of came to my head. Guerrero Lesnar,
Yes. Dude.
No Way Out 04, and Punk Cena at Money in the Bank 2011, because that was like the first big match that I kind of saw coming back into wrestling after a few years hiatus. That was like, okay, I'm locked into this match, and to see like Punk win at the end and like Eddie in 2004 kind of get that big win, like just feel good wise, storytelling wise, match wise, they were both really fun to watch. So those have to be like my two favorite kind of matches ever. For like so many like they tick all the boxes for me. My favorite matches that I've had are very difficult. Because I feel like there's so many matches that I don't remember very well. But these are just the matches that I can remember off the top of my head that I'm like, these were my favorites. Me versus Jake Gibson for the Junior Heavyweight Championship at Suplex. That was one of my first big tests. And we, like, him and I talk about this match all the time, and we just, like, look back and laugh, because, like, I'm not gonna go too deep into it, because I'm very much, I don't talk about, like, behind the scenes stuff about wrestling, because you get it. But we look back and laugh. It's something like we can talk about off the pod. But yeah, that's one of my favorite matches with someone who I look up to and is one of my best friends. Me versus Grant Lindstrom at Kingdom.
Okay.
I just, like, some things went wrong in that match, but we kind of just flowed with it. Like, there was an interference that happened way sooner than we expected, and we're like, what the fuck?
I've been there. Hey, you've got 12 minutes
the
and
music
someone missed their
playing.
cue and 5 minutes into the match. Well, fuck, we got to go home now. Thanks.
Well, it was the complete opposite. It was like, the music's playing way too early, and we're sitting there like, what the fuck is going on? He has no reason to come out during this match right now. What? I just remember that match being a lot of fun. I felt so bad for DJ Sonic that night, because his music's playing. Nothing bad's even happened in the match. Like, Grant hasn't really cheated yet, so he has no reason to come out and, like, beat Grant up.
So it's just on the music.
But his music playing.
Oh, bro.
So his music's playing, and then he's like, I just have to go out. And he looked confused. I was confused. I was like, okay, I'm just going to
Shout
let
out
this
to
happen.
DJ Sonic. Fantastic. Fantastic
Great guy.
talent. Oh, dude.
But, like, I looked...
Just imagining him standing behind the curtain. I don't mean to cut you off, Ryan, but I'm just like, imagine, like, you know, like, it's a wrestling podcast, so just imagine he's there waiting for his cue in the particular part of the match when it's, like, you know, meant to happen. And the music just starts playing. I'm just picturing him like looking at his stopwatch or something and being like,
So
yeah, fuck,
From what I
alright.
heard, he was outside.
Oh
Because
my
he wasn't
god.
meant to come out for like another 5-10 minutes. So he's just hanging out outside from what I heard. I don't know, I wasn't backstage. But that was one of the first matches where I went back. Like me versus Grant.
I have had
And-
something similar to that happen though, where someone was late to come
Yeah.
out. So I've
We're
had
in the loop.
I've had
Oh,
both
God.
things happen. Someone missed the spot and they were at ringside and they interfered earlier than they were meant to because they got confused between the spots, and it was like, well, me and the guy involved were like, well, I'm gonna have to go home now. Sorry, brother. Time to take my finish. And she's like, oh fuck, that cut 10 minutes off our match, and it was gonna be awesome. And then I've had another case where it was like, hey man, when we get to X amount of minutes in the match, come in. And someone goes for a bathroom break. Turns out their clock was wrong or something, and I'm just left there and just ad-libbing. Luckily, as a heel, I can toy with the crowd and stretch it out a bit. But afterwards, it wasn't it was fine. It didn't take away from the match. But afterwards, a certain person in the kit was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry, bro. I'm so sorry, bro." He's like, "I really had to pee." He's like, "I thought I had at least another 2 minutes," and then he's like, "I looked at the clock." He's like, "I misread it." Da 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 da. And I'm like, "It's fine." Shit happens and life goes on, but fuck.
I remember there was the ending of me and Grant got messed up too. It was no one's fault, just miscommunications. Shit happened. But I remember going backstage after the Grant match, and people who I really look up to were shaking my hand and saying that I did a really good job, and there were having people sit at the back and watch my match was really cool for me because it was people I looked up to. Bucky was there and he said I did a really good job. Jake was there, he said I did a really good job. Someone who I hadn't had a lot of interactions with, I had a few interactions with, and he was always super nice, very very nice guy. But Slade Mercer came up to me and he shook my hand and said I did a really good job, and that all meant the world to me. The Misfit came up and congratulated me on it. And the last match that I kind of look back at was my last singles match, and it was against Banjo Powers for the Wrestle Strong Dojo Junior Heavyweight Championship. And I've never watched it back, but I just remember having the best time because I'm like, look, I'm going out after this match either way. I'm gonna just. I remember doing a zigzag off the second rope or something because I'm like, I don't even care. My body hurts as it is. I'm just gonna go out and we're just gonna beat the hell out of each other, and we did. It was one of those matches where people in the front row aren't sitting there going, what are they doing? They're like, oh my god, these two hate each other, because we were legitimately beating the hell out of each other. Dude is super talented. Deserves all the opportunities he has.
He's killing it over in
I
South
think-
Australia now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm very happy for him. He's a great guy. I've never had any. I don't have a bad word to say about him. So yeah, versus Jake at Suplex, versus Grant at Kingdom, and versus Banjo at Wrestle Strong.
I will just say real quick before Nova asks her first of the last two questions, the fact that anything that could go did go wrong, from what you were just saying with that match of Lindstrom, and you still got that reaction in hindsight. That's gotta be a nice little feather in the cap.
For sure.
They were laughing about it when we got back. Yeah, they were all laughing when we got back there because just two huge things went wrong. The finish got mixed up, and it was really cool to have Lindstrom come up to me after the match and thank me for the match and say he was really happy with it and stuff like that. But people backstage were laughing because they're like, what was happening? And we were just like, look, we don't know. Well, let's just look at the match for what we did, kind of thing.
And just think, you could have ended up on Botchamania, but you still held it together. So
Yeah, no one would have known if I didn't say anything. No one would know what went wrong and when, because we just like, we knew what to do in those situations. A lot of people can freeze up when those things happen. I'm very much, whatever happens, I'm just going to treat it as that's what happened. I can't go, oh my god, this messed up and this messed up and this didn't go the way, because then you get in your own head and then suddenly you've frozen in front of a crowd full of people.
We're always our own worst critics, especially when we get backstage and you're like, fuck, could have done this, could have done that. But at the end of the day, when you're out there and the red light's on, there's no double takes, man. Like, you've got to roll with it. You've got no choice. Like, you've got to, it's an overused expression, but you've got to make chicken salad out of chicken shit.
Yeah. And it didn't faze me. Like, the people were like, "Oh, I'm really sorry about like this mess up," and I'm like, "Dude, I went out there. We got a good reaction. At the end of the day, the finish looks like I just got screwed out of the title, so we can move forward with that, which we did. Like, let's not dwell over the things that went wrong. I had a lot of fun." I went back and I got like a bunch of feedback from like Gibson and like Bucky were like, "Oh, you could do this a little better next time. You waited too long here," and I used all that. So yeah, those were definitely my favorites.
Oh yeah.
So my next question for you is, who is your ultimate dream opponent and what is your dream stipulation, so they can be living or dead? And you can have a couple if you want, like, no gun to head, but it's just one straight person. You can pick a couple if you like.
Okay. So, one of my best friends in the world lives in New Zealand. I have known this guy since 2014 with the dreaded WWE 2K15. It's going down for real. And he was streaming My Career or whatever, like I think it's called My Career. And I just jumped into his chat and we became best friends. He got into wrestling and he's doing very well for himself over in New Zealand. His name is Ryan Zero. He is doing incredible work. He is one person that if and when I come back, I want to have a match with him. I'm not doing a death match. Sorry. I'm not going to say your real name, but sorry, Ryan. Sorry, Mr. Zero. I'm not doing a death match, brother. It's not happening. But, he's been trying to, like, he's been begging me to come over to New Zealand to wrestle him for, like, 2 years. So, my alive and very possible opponent, absolutely Ryan Zero. I'm just gonna say him. Like, I don't look too far into like fantasy booking myself because, like, as I said, like I was pretty out of wrestling for a long time, like 2 or 3 years. So I don't really know, honestly. Like, I could say CM Punk because he's like my favorite wrestler, I guess, but like someone who it can absolutely happen with and who I absolutely wanted to happen with, and if I was going to have like, if I knew I was going to have my last match, I would want it to be like a triple threat with like him and Gibson. It would be Ryan Zero.
Because I was going to say, is there any particular stipulation? But hey, I suppose if you throw Gibson in there and make it a triple threat, that's kind of a stipulation.
If it was just me and Zero, I would do any match besides the death match. I can't do the death match stuff. Each of their own. I'm not a guy who's like fuck deathmatch wrestling. I don't care what other people do with their bodies. I've enjoyed some deathmatch wrestling. I would just never put my body. I couldn't put my body through that. Yeah, dude, I'd do a false count anywhere. I'd do a ladder match. It's a meme for our truth, but like I'm legitimately terrified of climbing ladders and heights. But I'd do it for a match with him. But yeah, so he would like pretty much any stipulation but a death match. He's gonna call me a bitch, but
see, I was in like this weird bubble, like when I for a little bit there, where like I wanted to do deathmatch, and like Nova had kind of just come on the scene, and she's like, yeah, no, like I don't know, and then like I've called her out on the pod so many times, and she's like, you can't say that because then people will think that like you're whipped or I'm holding you back and this and that. But now, like in hindsight, with all of like the health issues that I've had with other stuff, I look at it and I'm like, I ain't ever doing a death match. I'm like indirectly Nova gets her wish because I ain't doing that shit. I was like, I got enough issues.
I had people give me shit because I said I don't want him to even do tax, and it was mainly because I was like, I know it's just tax, but what if it hits like an artery or some shit? Yes, it's a little pointy object, but it could still nick something, and then you bleed out and you're fucked. Like, I'm just pedantic,
and
okay?
I do still have like 500 pieces of Lego that you, as my wife, bought me. And we're like, hey, you can use this in a wrestling match.
Instead. I'm happy with that, but not fucking tax.
Love,
and
look,
shit.
I couldn't do tax. I couldn't do glass. I'm a bitch when it comes to getting needles. Like
I feel you.
I'm not having anything stick in me. But yeah. So you won't be seeing me doing death matches.
It's
Not even for him.
Because I hate needles, but I was like, I want to do tax just one time. But now I'm like, you know what? After everything is said and done, and I've been out of the ring almost 5 years now, y'all can have that to your fucking selves.
Love watching it, but fuck that.
Yeah, I'll watch it every day of the week, but that's
that.
not for me. I'm done.
Yeah.
So my next question's kind of combining two worlds now. So before we start to kind of wrap up a bit, if you had to recruit a team of wrestlers to assist you in doing the brotherly shove, aka the tush push, who would those wrestlers be? Who would be your lineup?
Who would be your wrestler-centric Philly
Well,
Eagles?
so here's the thing. I'm assuming I'm the Jalen Hurts. I'm the one getting shoved.
You can be
So
any position you want.
Yeah, anyone you want. Yeah, you're in the lineup, but you gotta pick everyone else.
I will be the quarterback because I'm the one who needs to get shoved. Because look at me, I'm not shoving anyone. I am like I'm the little engine that could, but I'm not pushing fucking anyone. So who could get me over the 1 yard line or even the 2 yard line to get that touchdown in the brotherly shove? Bucky. Very easily. Is this like any wrestler or just like Australian?
I was thinking more Australian, but if you want to throw other wrestlers out there, you can. I want to
see it. Yeah, I want to see who else you kind of throw in there.
Okay, so we got Bucky for sure. Oh god, now I've got to think of Australian wrestlers off the top of my head. I didn't think this would be so difficult.
The 245-pound Big Show.
245-pound Rey Mysterio. I'll take 245-pound Braun Breaker. I'll take 6-year-old me doing diving head. No. So Bucky. But who else? There's a lot of like really jacked people in wrestling who could absolutely like push me over. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna have to go like overseas wrestlers because like I am blanking like so hard right now, and I'm trying to look through my Facebook friends list to be like, who could like get me over that like line, but
you're not jacked enough, and
just messages like some random dude in Sydney, like, "Hey, random wrestling friend, do you think you could push me over the touchdown line?" I'm like, what?
You want to brotherly shove me, brother? And you'd be like, "What the fuck did you just say to me?"
He what in his cup?
Give me that tush push, brother.
Bucky for sure. Braun Breaker. Gunther.
Oh, yep.
Oh, damn.
Yep.
Brody King. Dude, that's his name, right?
Yes.
His chops are arguably
Is that the guy
worse
I'm thinking?
His chops are arguably worse than Gunther's. Good lord.
I'll pick one more. So I'll go Bucky, Braun Breaker, Gunther, Brody King, and I need one more to just really. Who's going to be the guy shoving me over the line from behind. Drew McIntyre is pretty, no, Jacob Fatu. I'm taking Jacob Fatu.
He'd probably yeet you. He'd yeet you into oblivion, guaranteed.
Yeah, that's my list.
I'm just picturing now, it's like AEW Stadium Stampede, but with WWE guys, one of the quarterbacks is just running and fucking Gunther just chops him out of the air to instead of tackling him.
And you know what? I want Michael Cole on the other side to help, just so he feels like a part of the team, because I love Michael Cole.
Yes. I love Michael Cole. I mean, Michael Cole is honestly entering GOAT status at this point. And as a nostalgia Jim Ross fan...
Another one for me, and everyone hates on him, is Pat McAfee, though. Because he's got that fucking charisma, man.
People have a love-hate relationship with Pat, though.
I fucking love Pat.
There's the wrestling purists, whatever the fuck that means, that hate him because he's too over the top. But then you look at it from, he's everything that a colour commentator should be. He really is. Anyway.
I'm looking at the WWE roster now, and I didn't realize just how out of the loop I am. I don't know half of these people. Oh my lord.
I'm getting like that with a lot of the ones from NXT. I was like, who are all these people?
Yes, if you're looking at Robert Stone, then yes, that is Robbie E. He's been there for a while. He's been there for a while. He's been a manager for a while. He's only had about 3 matches his entire time. He's doing more managerial.
More manager
I think he's actually an assistant to Ava currently, isn't he?
I think so, yeah.
Davon Evans. That's, the first time I knew he got signed to NXT, but I really liked his stuff from DPW.
Yes, he's come a long way. He got to wrestle Randy Orton.
I did see that. I'll be honest. My main wrestling right now is DPW.
Honestly, that's fair. Both Deadlock, as in the podcast that review the stuff, and Deadlock, as in Deadlock Pro, are phenomenal things, and you should watch both of them.
I have loved Pulse. I have loved Pulse, and I've loved Pulse and Johnny since I can remember. I caught on to Tony when I was probably 16 or 17. But I've been rocking with Pulse since Steve Austin dies, WWE 12, created Story, and New Legacy. Jesus, I couldn't even say how long I've been watching them. But they're my dude. I love everything they do.
Hell yeah.
Especially because Johnny is a big Philly Eagles guy as well. So go Birds to Johnny. And Dankop, another guy, another big Chris Danger. He's living out his dream, and he's a wrestler now, not just in a 2K My Career, which is incredible to see.
Dude,
he wanted to do something.
The lumps he took in that first match too with was it Sean Spears?
Sean Spears, yeah.
That was gnarly, man. That was gnarly. The fucking cut that he got, and the bone was sticking out.
The cut in his arm and stuff, yeah.
Yummy. Wrestling is not for the weak, ladies and gentlemen.
No.
But with that being
said, you know who it is for? A crack addict. Limp Bizkit.
He's just forcing that now, so I'll pick that as a song of the week over Going Down for real. With that being said, though, now I think that's actually that was the last question because it was technically the last fun fact question.
Yeah, and then I'm into the non-wrestling now.
Yeah, which was the tush push, wasn't it?
No, that was one above it because that one was technically a wrestling question still because it was wrestlers.
There is an extra question there.
It's an extra question. It's a 2-parter, but then I'm going to make it a 3-parter because I'm annoying.
Okay, well, it's your question, so ask the fucking question.
So my first one, part of it, is do you have any superstitions for game day? Because people out there are mad about their superstitions. I haven't really got any yet, but I was kind of oh shit. The other day I debuted a new jersey for me, and I was on Super Bowl day I'm gonna wear my McNabb one, and now I'm just fuck, we're gonna lose, and now I'm hey, maybe it's good luck. Do you have anything like that? I see a lot of people say it in the fan base, and I was fuck yeah, I don't have anything like that yet, but do you?
My superstition isn't even a superstition. My superstition is do not talk to my partner about the game until after the game has happened, because anything she says comes true.
Oh my god.
Even if she doesn't mean to. Like, I remember she was driving me to work one day. It was the day of the Commanders game. The game hadn't started yet, because I think it was a later game. And she's like, wouldn't it be like... She's like, not that it would be cool, but, like, I was just thinking, because we were talking about, like, the Nick Foles, like, taking over for Carson in that Super Bowl.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, wouldn't it be, like, so crazy if, like, Kenny Pickett or Tanner McKee, like, came in for Jalen, because, like, whatever, and, like, took us to the Super Bowl. And that was the game that Jalen got concussed on, and he was out for, like, 3 weeks, and I'm like, don't you ever say anything again. Because she was like, can you imagine if we lose to the Commanders that same day? And I'm like, there's no way. And then we did. And I'm like, okay, you are, like, we are not allowed to talk about anything to do with the game until after it's done. I love her to death. She's my best friend. But I'm too superstitious to talk to her about the game until after it's happened. Because anything she puts out in the air seems to happen in those damn games. And it's never good.
Oh my gosh. So my next one, it's kind of like the two-parter part. So it's like, who is your all-time favorite Philadelphia Eagles player and your all-time favorite non-Eagles NFL player?
Oh. Well, look, my favorite Eagles player, just due to how I got into the sport, has to be Jalen Hurts, because, as I said, I saw him get drafted. That's my guy. I said I was going to rock with him, whether he went amazing like he has, or he just shit the bed kind of thing.
Yeah.
So Jalen is my favorite Eagles player because I saw him get drafted. I've seen his biggest losses and as an Eagle, and I've seen his biggest win a few days ago.
The fairy tale stuff with him too, because when he was with Alabama and he was just like the second quarterback, he wasn't even starter because Tua fucking kept being the starter.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, that's gonna suck. And then when they versed each other not long ago, when we went against Miami, I was like, this is fucking sick seeing them against each other properly though. But yeah, it's a fairy tale for him that he came from being just a second quarterback and how he's just gone from that to friggin' winning a Super Bowl. I'm like, dude, this gives me chills. This is sick. It's just awesome.
And favorite non-Eagles player? Talent-wise, probably has to be Lamar Jackson.
Oh, yeah, he's pretty solid. Definitely.
Yeah, talent-wise has to be Lamar Jackson. There's a player that I'm just completely blanking on right now, and I feel so bad. But he was on the mic'd up moments, and all he does is just like riles people up. It's Christian Wilkins.
Okay, I don't know if I've heard that name.
And he's talking to this guy. He's like, "You're gonna get it. You about to get it." And then the Bengals player goes, "You about to get this." And then Christian Wilkins is like, "No, don't say that. I'm not scared of you." And like, he's trying to get the ref's attention one time, but instead of going up to him being like, "Hey, ref," he's just sitting there screaming, "Ref!"
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Ref! Yes.
That guy. He's very fucking funny.
See, the ultimate plot twist for me would have been if he had have thrown out like an old school like Dallas Cowboys player or something randomly.
I would never. Don't you ever say that.
I'm loving how much we're shitting on Dallas Cowboys, right? His brother goes for Dallas Cowboys and is probably going to be listening to this.
I'm sorry.
Hi, Tyler.
I'm sorry, T-Dog. He used to go for the Miami Dolphins, but then because he found Cowboys merch easier, he switched his first and second team. Oh, Jesus.
Another one, which is going to be surprising, who I really enjoy because one, he's a good player, and two, he's very funny. I hate this team. Don't get me wrong. I fuck it. Not as much as the Cowboys and not as much as the Chiefs. Fuck them both. But the other team I mentioned that I hate was the 49ers. I love George Kittle.
Oh, yeah, I do. I don't mind George.
See, I love
He's
both
not
Kittle
bad.
and Purdy. Purdy is fucking phenomenal. Like, he really is.
Yeah, and I just hate 49ers, so I'm just like, that sucks that they have both those players, because they're so fucking good. One of my ones that I reckon that I like that's not Eagles is probably Josh Allen. Josh Allen's up there for me. I was wishing that it was going to be us against them, to be honest, rather than fucking Chiefs.
I'm a little salty on Josh Allen after the whole MVP winner thing, but I agree. He's a good player, but I don't know about MVP for this year. I genuinely don't think anyone had a better season than Saquon Barkley, and that's not because he was on the Eagles.
Well, that's
Dude broke records.
That's what keeps shitting me, is it's always quarterbacks. Like, the MVPs always seem to be fucking quarterbacks. I'm like, why not just
If you have a player that's in the MVP race that's not a quarterback, isn't that saying something?
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's fucking solid. Like, why the fuck not?
Yeah. So that kind of soured me on Josh Allen, but that's on Josh Allen's fault. So I'm not going to take it out on Josh Allen. I'm just like, no.
Fuck the NFL officials. Fuck you guys.
The weirdest thing
I'm still like, fuck those guys. Yeah.
I didn't like Tom Brady as a player. Like, when he was playing, I hated that man. Just like anyone else who wasn't a Patriots fan. But ever since he's kind of come out of, like, playing and just doing, like, the, like, his interviews and
I'm in the same boat.
like that. I'm like,
I think it's because he was destroying all of our teams, and you're just like, this motherfucker,
Fuck
and then
that
you're like, oh, no,
motherfucker.
he actually is one of the goats.
and now he's just a goofy guy doing commentary, and I'm like, I love this. This is incredible.
So, someone that I can't stand, and I hate it because he was so good. I say was because he's way past his prime and he should just retire, but that's another story. Aaron Rodgers, like, he should be like, he's a top tier player, but there's something about him that's always just really rough.
Well, you know what's come out? One of my favourite actresses was dating him, like Shailene Woodley, and she said he was abusive to her. So that makes sense.
Oh, well, there you go. I ain't going to get into that important conversation, but in that case, fuck that guy.
Yeah. Yep.
All I'm going to say is I have nothing bad to say about any individual player. I respect everyone because you never know who you might say hello to in life. So,
Absolutely.
That's all I will say. So,
but in saying that, though, like,
every
anyone that puts on the
NFL player,
pants, you know, absolutely, like, kudos to them for sure.
to anyone, not that they would ever hear this, but to any NFL player who I ever may run into in Australia, maybe, I don't know. Thank you for your playing. I am so grateful, and I have nothing bad to say about any of you because any of you would kick me in the face.
No, it's the same as like wrestling though. Like anyone that like does like a high contact sport, whether it's NRL, NFL, you know, boxing, MMA, freaking, even NBA, like it gets really physical time. Like, and if you're an athlete of any caliber, like I take my hat off to you, absolutely. But yeah,
look, I'll say this now. This is like a personal life thing because we're doing a podcast. Like me, not as like the character, but like me as a person. You guys asked me, I think it was like Nova asked me earlier, would I come back to wrestling? There is a big question mark on that for one main reason. Not just the logistic stuff, but something I didn't mention earlier. Last year I found out that Sydney and I think Queensland has some too, has some gridiron teams. I am going to be getting in shape and trying out for like gridiron this year. So if that goes well, I will probably choose that.
Fun fact, we have a mate that's doing it in Queensland.
Yeah, shout out to
He
Spencer.
listens to this podcast too, so if you ever needed someone to reach out to, he's an Eagles fan too.
Shout out to Spencer. He plays for the Rockhampton Wolverines currently, but I'm biased because my hometown has a team, and it's the Goulburn Rams, and they're still in their infancy state. They're actually part of the ACT leg of it rather than the New South Wales leg, and they're that infant that they're not even on the fucking Wikipedia page for it yet. But hey, hopefully 2005 will be a good season for them, and we're actually hoping to talk to someone about that very soon, just to kind of get off the ground and get some people around it. But hell yeah, I can see Ryan rocking the helmet.
Look, I'm not going to be a Cooper DeJean. I don't think I could be a cornerback because he's not a safety. We need to get that straight. Cooper DeJean is not a safety. He's just a corner who will lock down your number one. DeJean is CB1.
See, for some reason I just picture Ryan as a running back, as Nelly in The Longest Yard, where he's like almost doing the Saquon shit.
That's one of the reasons I got into NFL as well.
Just hurdling over people, it's fine.
It's because that fucking movie. That movie got me into it. That and like Gridiron Gang and that was getting me into like American football.
I love that fucking movie so much.
So fucking good.
Ridiculous.
It's top tier.
The fact that it's a remake and now they're doing a remake of a remake at some point
in
the next few years.
And then friggin', I just love Adam Sandler, so I'm just like Longest Yard all the fucking way.
It's just so weird to see Steve Austin without his goatee and just the moustache.
I think he just shit himself. Oh, this guy shit himself bad. I told y'all I made him shit. But that movie, I could probably quote that word for word if we were watching it. I actually got a Paul Crew jersey.
Waterboy was the other one,
I actually got a Paul Crew jersey for my 30th from the lovely Miss Novely over here. But we're going on just on 2.5 hours as we do this, Ryan. So by the time I put the intro and outro together, it's going to be a 2 hour 45 minute, but still nowhere near close to being our longest episode. We sometimes we rant a lot on this podcast, and it is what it is.
As I said, we can easily. There's some stuff in here we could cut out. Like I went on to fucking rant.
Dude, we didn't help. Like we just went along with you.
I'm just here for the ride, honestly. Like,
it just
but
shows.
This is what podcasts should be. If things are too structured, it just. I love a good
you can pause it. You can come back later.
Like,
you can finish it. It's fine. You don't have to listen to it in one setting.
Yeah. It can be like you just essentially like Twitch, where you're just listening to it and you're doing other daily shit. Like, you know.
Like we got
and I feel like we have gotten to the point where, like, if you wanted a guest for like a watch back, I know my shit, and we have good banter. As like, I'm pretty sure, like, I know I haven't laughed this hard in a long ass time. So like, we have good banter and stuff.
I think we need to get Ryan to hit up DPC for reaction Wednesdays.
Oh yeah, and you just could do a reaction video.
Because as far as like the digital stuff, he deals with all that and the screen sharing and everything else. I don't know how the fuck to do that. So, but I reckon me, Ryan, and DPC could do that. And maybe even, now that we've got a better setup, trying to get Nova on some of them as well. But yeah, I definitely...
Yeah.
If you've got any matches that are like on YouTube and stuff that you'd like to react to and break down, like 100%.
I will never ever watch my own stuff. That's the one thing I'll never do. I'll never watch my own stuff. Well, but like, if you ever do like a retro watch, well, I don't have any match suggestions. I do have one match suggestion we can watch. The Eagles versus the Chiefs, Super Bowl 59.
Yeah, you guys have to come up here for it, and we can just relive it all over again, and we'll just rewatch it. That'd be great. Or
the Eagles Cowboys Kelly Green game from last year. Or the Eagles 49ers NFC Championship. We're talking about wrestling, aren't we?
The way that it fucking pop.
Okay.
Pop.
Okay.
Big pop.
I have a wrestling match we can watch. It's okay. It's Undertaker versus Test from SummerSlam 2002.
No, we need the match with fucking Kelsey and fucking, was it Dickinson or was it fucking Lane? It was Lane. That's right. It was fucking Lane. Lane and them fucking all went in.
See, I was torn. I was thinking of doing like that Team Guerrero Team Angle match as the match of the week, but I think Song of the Week is either going to be Crack Addict or Going Down for Real. It depends on how I'm feeling, honestly, the morning
if you feel cheeky.
But the match, I think, is going to have to be Undertaker versus Test. Match of the week, Undertaker
Can you
versus
imagine
Test.
if that wasn't even the fucking match on the show? Now I need to look at it because I've psyched myself out thinking that this wasn't even a match that fucking happened.
I thought there was some.
Was it Kane versus Test? I know there was some sort of
No,
Un-Americans thing.
it was Undertaker versus Test, and it went for 8 minutes.
Oh my god. So, with all that being said, Ryan, we'll start to wrap this up a little bit. Where can we find you on social media? Do you have any merchandise? Where can we find you on I guess Twitch technically counts as social media, but we'll give that an extra plug.
Yeah,
but,
extra plug.
Where can we find you on all the stuff and the things and just anything that you'd like to plug, basically? I'm a professional.
So I am Ryan the H. Exactly how that sounds, Ryan the H. Everywhere, Twitter, Twitch. If you want to, you won't see it until September. If you want to see me talk a bunch of shit about football, or wrestling, go to my Twitter. If you want to see me be a goofball every now and then while I play games, go to my Twitch at Ryan the H. Yeah, I don't have any merch. I'm not that interesting. Yeah, you'll catch me listening to Crack Addict. I literally tweeted out about Crack Addict like a few weeks ago, actually. So this is all the sort of banterish and dumb shit I've said during this podcast. That's just my entire Twitter. Recently it's been a bunch of shitting on the Chiefs.
Yes, same. The memes are just so good.
And yelling about people stealing our offensive coordinators.
Yeah.
But most of my Twitter is just dumb shit because I just like to have fun.
I don't want to drag this on too much, but literally, I need to say this on air just because I thought it was funny. I just typed in Undertaker versus Test SummerSlam into my Google machine just because I thought it was funny. The top 2 suggestions on top of that is, why did Undertaker laugh at Brock? Of course, there's that famous spot where they both sat up laughing at each other. And then the second thing is, what was the greatest SummerSlam match of all time? If you actually click the tab there, it says Bret Hart versus Davey Boy was voted SummerSlam, blah, 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 blah. But I'm just loved that it's like Undertaker versus Test, SummerSlam, and then it's like...
It was clearly Undertaker versus Test in the 8 minutes.
And then the related question is, what was the greatest SummerSlam?
Jesus
yes,
Christ.
Test versus Undertaker in the 8-minute 5-star classic.
I love that it says who won SummerSlam 2002, and it just says Brock Lesnar. I mean, he won the main event, but
he
just won the whole. He just won the whole thing. What the fuck, Google?
This card is like.
That is a god tier card though. Like you got the ladder match with RVD and Jeff Hardy for the hardcore and IC titles. You got Street Fight, Triple H.
This one was RVD versus Crispin.
I think Jeff Hardy may have. I think the Jeff.
I just don't want to say his full name.
Oh, Crispin.
So I'm just saying Crispin.
Crispin War? Crispin War?
Yeah, that guy.
Crispin.
The Un-American.
May have been 2001. They had that ladder match then.
Oh my god! I found a match better than Undertaker versus Test.
Oh god.
The Un-Americans, Christian and Lance Storm versus Booker T and Goldust. It goes for 9 minutes.
Hell yeah! Let's get Booker T and Goldust had amazing
30-minute classic of Shawn versus Triple H when you have Undertaker and Test and the Un-Americans versus Booker T and Goldust? That sounds like that actually. Oh my god, what? Where he turned heel on Hulk Hogan, leading to WrestleMania 18 rematch at No Way Out, where special guest referee Sylvain Grenier. Oh, that's the second time this man's been brought up.
What a callback! What an absolute callback!
That's
okay,
hilarious.
now I need to watch the special guest referee Sylvain Grenier at No Way Out.
Yeah, so it was 01, the fucking unification match. That makes sense because it was coming out of the invasion and shit. But
the invasion.
Yeah. My ADHD just Googling, not live, but live on air, for lack of a better term. I thank you so much for coming on, Ryan. And you did say this is the first time you've ever really done anything like this, and you've been out of the scene for a while, and we covered quite a lot. So, honestly, I think 2.5 hours isn't too bad.
Pretty solid.
We got 2 hours and 37 minutes, but obviously I'll trim out all the small talk before we technically went live. while I was working out all the kinks of my fucking technology. Wouldn't be having a conversation without the fucking technology.
I trust you that if I said anything dumb or said anything that could be like conceived as like drama, that you'll send me a message on, hey, should I cut this out? So
I think we've tiptoed around it pretty much, and that's like literally like
you weren't like full out going bloody blue blah buried, like you weren't just burying people
say that
left, right,
on air because we've had so many people say, what are the rules, can we swear this? I'm like, my literal only fucking rule is don't shoot / bury anyone, because it's just not that kind of show. That's literally the only rule.
Yeah, my whole thing is I like to have fun. I'm in the time of my life where like I got a kid now. I'm in a very good place in life. I just want to have banter and talk shit. Like nothing else really matters to me now. I just like to have fun.
But wrapping this up, Ryan, have you got any Twitch streams or anything in the pipeline currently as we record this, or?
No, actually. Right now, like I go back to work on Monday, so it'll pretty much just be business as usual. But if anyone wants any updates on any Twitch streams or anything like that, I posted on my Twitter at Ryan the H. So just keep an eye out there. And yeah, I'm just kind of waiting in the shadows until I decide to actually do something.
Fair enough. I look forward to seeing that, and I'm gonna put on the thumbnail. It'll say Ryan Miller, but I'm gonna anchorman it, and I'm gonna put a question mark in brackets, and in the intro I'll be like, ladies and gentlemen, it's Ryan Miller, and then in the outro I'll be like, ladies and gentlemen, that was Ryan Jacobs, because they've listened to the conversation by that point.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah.
This week, Mr. and Mrs Crossfire interview Australia's biggest crack addict, Ryan Miller. Nope.
Yeah.
Wrong kind of crack addict.
Jesus Christ.
But if you're gonna put that, you need to put the Fred Durst red backwards cap photoshopped on my head.
Oh,
yes. Now he's gonna probably do that. I can already see his brain ticking. He's like,
Oh man, look, if I can, by the time this comes out on, did I say March 2nd? What is math? We're just doing this live on air before we wrap this up. Yeah, Sunday, March 2nd, the first Sunday of March. By the time my graphic comes out on February 15th, that I just spent literally a full day doing, which was very fucking hard, and I might even send it to Ryan just for shits and gigs. But if I can do something that complex, I'm sure I can Photoshop a hat on someone's head.
Thank you for having me. I had a great time.
No worries. See you later, mate.
See you, dude. Thanks for jumping
See ya. Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, that was Ryan Miller.
It goes like this. Ryan Miller.
I love that you kind of sang where the question mark should have been, like you were questioning, but it was very melodic. Of course, as revealed in this conversation, he is now Ryan Jacobs. He has actually updated his social, so it's going to look a bit weird because, you know, it's going to have his shoot name in the description for the links, but just for pure comedy effect, we're still calling him Ryan Miller. Or
do I do that announcement
again? So how about this? We say, ladies and gentlemen, that was Ryan Jacobs. So Nova, how about we press that button again?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from Sydney, Australia, Ryan Jacobs!
We could press the button, but I think it's just funnier if we don't. But I really enjoyed this conversation, Nova. Obviously, as we said, there's a reason it's so long because it just kept going, and we didn't really want to clip any of it out. Like, we just enjoyed this conversation so much, and we really hope that you guys enjoy it as well. Nova, did you want to repeat the song and match of the week? And then I'll get into all these plugs that I've got.
Alrighty. So your song of the week was GDFR by Flowrider, feat. Sage, and the Gemini and Lucas. That's a lot to read in one thing. And then the match is Undertaker versus Test at SummerSlam 2002.
Yes, GDFR by Flowrider. featuring Sage the Gemini and Lucas. Ryan Jacobs or Ryan Miller or Ryan the H as he's called on Twitch.
It's pronounced Ryan Miller.
There was something he wanted to announce on the show, but he wasn't sure if he was allowed to or if it had been announced yet. We're not going to say what Instagram. It is, but go to Ryan the H, the Instagram, and have a little look-see, because Nova Lee is very fucking envious. Honestly,
I am living vicariously through him.
So thank you for coming on this show, Ryan, before your celebrity blows up too much and you forget all about it.
And you get a big head and, you know.
Of course, I appreciated the advice that he gave me about the Twitch and anything and everything that was there, but all of Ryan's links are there. Go check them out. He's the main focus of this episode. But if you check out Linktree/SensationalLJ, you get all the pod stuff, you get the Crossfire stuff, Crossfire graphics, the pro wrestling tees, the wish list, the GoFundMe, not going to beg, but it's there. And of course, the Patreon. You get early access, Nova, for as little as
$5 reduce. That is $5 reduce.
And of course, all of the pod stuff is in Nova's Linktree as well, along with her social stuff. If you go to my pro wrestling tee store, though, there is a Nova Lee t-shirt on there, so give me money for her. You know?
I should totally do a link just for my t-shirt.
you could chuck it in there. But yeah, that's all there. But $5 dues, Nova, and of course $10 subscribers. It's 10 Australian, 6 US. Tier 2 and up. Instant access to the digital version of my first children's book. I really need to get back into working on them. I've just been really busy with stuff, and trying to illustrate things as a legally blind person it's not easy, but I want to do it all myself, because that way I can say I did this, and if it's trash, it's trash. If it's good, it's good. We've got nothing but good feedback. Of course, $15, the tier 3 and up, they can choose a topic for an entire episode. They get access to the watch-alongs, video footage of those watch-alongs. And on top of that, very, very soon, when I'm not so busy and fucking full on, the audio version of the digital book will be available for 15 and up. Because obviously, you still get stuff from the previous tier. So for extra $5, you get the audio version on top of the digital version. And of course, our top tier, Nova, is
the Supernova tier, baby.
$20, everything and everything. You get a shout out for as long as you're inactive for that month. And if we get enough members, we will be doing Patreon exclusive giveaways. I've got a lot of wrestling merch here that I've been trying to sell for medical bills. It's not like a plug to hey, buy my shit, but it's a matter of trying to make money for medical bills, but also just trying to declutter. So I figure if 5 people chip in $20, that's $100. So you could potentially, I know it's almost borderline gambling, so of course do this responsibly. But 5 people chip in $20 for something that's worth $100.
Yeah.
I'll take the $15 hit for shipping. It's fine. $85,
Yeah.
$85 in my pocket. Only 20 out of yours. You're not paying for shipping. Come on now. In saying that, if you listen to this episode, please push the Facebook page. Once we get the 500 followers on CIC Pod, we will be doing a giveaway exclusive for everyone on the Facebook page. Of course, Australia and New Zealand only, unless you're an international person and you want to help front the shipping. But otherwise, we will cover the shipping. It's fine.
Yeah.
We're just going to, kind of like as a gesture of good faith for the journey we've been going on. And we're almost at 4,000 downloads already.
Yeah.
Our goal for this year was 4.5 for the whole year.
Yeah.
So we just appreciate it. Obviously, with Terry Campese recently, we had Crazy Steve, we just had, Dr. Frank. We're getting guests that we've wanted for a while, and we're finally ticking them off the bucket list, and we just appreciate it. So go like the Facebook page and share some love, but it's all there. Now, as we record this, next week, in 6 days' time, if you're listening to this the day that it drops, but of course, if you are a Patreon subscriber and you're getting this a few days early, but next week, regardless, Insane Championship Wrestling presents Insane Asylum 24, Saturday, March 8th at the Belconnen Community Centre. And then, all the way at the end of the year, November 1st, Emma Butler Memorial Show number 3. Woo! We're going to be travelling on Halloween Day. Very excited to, curl up in the hotel and put on a scary movie, which is funny because last time we did that and it wasn't even intentional. What are you doing?
Spooky.
That touching my soundboard. But last time we did it without even meaning to, because we watched Five Nights at Freddy's in the hotel just because we were vibing it. So maybe that'll be like our new Cara tradition of watching some sort of creepy-ish movie.
We should just watch something that I haven't seen, and then we could review it. That would be cool.
Well, there is a few things that we want to do watch-alongs to, but I don't know how we'd go. Oh, we wouldn't be able to do a watch-along in the hotel. Maybe we can just watch something spooky and just do a review like we did with the Black Phone.
Yeah, and like the bullet train one and that. Because there is some spooky movies that I haven't seen. I'm not overly big on horrors. I'm more of a thriller girl, so it'd be good to see.
I don't want to make this go any longer than it needs to, but there is a prequel in the works to the Black Phone of showing how the killer became the killer.
Oh, I'm keen for that.
Oh, bro, I cannot fucking wait, because we watched the first one in cinemas, and it was...
In the Lux section, too. It was awesome.
Then it was sold out. We were right at the front. You know, one of the perks of these many appointments is that, you know, it sucks, but we made the most of it, went on a little date, and that was phenomenal. We should watch that again, actually, now that it's, like, on digitals and streaming and stuff, because I 100% would watch it again. But, yeah, there's a prequel coming for that. But, yeah, the Emma Butler Memorial Show, November 1st. Of course, I still have a handful of Radiation Kick shirts available. Hit me up, $30. You can order them to pick up at the show if you like. If you order them now, I can put them aside for November. I've already put one aside for November as it is recently, and of course, every $10 goes to Emma Butler Memorial shirt. But I can post for an extra $10. Extra $10 for 2 shirts, $15 for 2 or more. And then obviously, if you somehow fucking buy the whole lot, we can work out how much postage will be. But no, like, I'm happy to take a hit again with the postage for 2 shirts, because, you know, it's a little bit of cash, but $20 goes to Emma's if it's more than one. But yeah, $30 each with $10 going is the general consensus for one shirt. We got smalls. We got medium, large, and extra large. But they're all really good sizes. The smallest side we have is medium, was what I was trying to say. My brain, as always, is trying to get to the next objective, and it's all happening. But no, just thank you to Ryan Jacobs for coming on this show. It's long, long overdue, hence why it went so long. And he had a lot to get off his chest, and we just had a lot of fun talking to in between, and I really did appreciate the advice he gave me with the Twitch stream. Like, just today as I do this, my Twitch stream kind of flopped. I said it was a bust, and African was like, brother, don't you dare use that word. He's like, I was working on that shit. He's like, it was a good shit. You just got to keep grinding. And I'm like, I'm just a little bit annoyed, because as we record this, I should be affiliate, because I had the monthly average up. Yeah. And then my fucking stream on Sunday flopped and took the average back down again. But it is what it is. I'm grinding. I'm having a good time. Check out one of Ryan's streams whenever he streams next. He said he's not going to do them super often, but when he does do them, he has a lot of fun. And as we said, 12 hours... you know, a couple of weeks ago to raise money for autism, along with the Philadelphia Eagles, and $250 US, mind you. So that's like 400 plus Australian. Like, that's Australian, that's an insane amount. Kudos to Ryan. And just, is there anything else you want to add to this before we wrap this up?
All I can say is, go Birds!
I was waiting for that. I am the Essential Jono Crossfire.
And I am Nova Lee.
And as always, you guys were just caught
in conversation. Shakalaka-laka titty sprinkles and go Birds!